Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to what is the biggest episode of the Critically Average until next week. Okay.
Yes. Technically, yeah, I think.
We timed this shit perfectly,
and
by the way.
And this is all by chance as well.
Not really.
I mean, like the spacing with the movies anyway. It's like if the Marvel movie recaps we did.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have to do them back-to-back weeks or anything like that.
If we did it one every single week, it would have been basically that until, because there's 21 Marvel movies. We started it.
This is week 29.
Exactly. And this is week 29. So we basically would have been doing just Marvel movies. So doing two at a time was a genius idea. Don't know who came up with that one. But yeah, so we are leading right in and we are finishing the Marvel movie showdown roundup with what is arguably one of the best ever.
Yeah, oh, well, yeah.
Definitely the most significant. Without a doubt, the most significant of anything we've seen so far.
Yep.
So
it's only, 9 days? 25th is when we're going?
Yeah, 9 days away. So, yeah, it's 8.
8. Damn.
It'll be 7 in the morning.
I know.
Crazy. We're almost a week away. It's exciting.
I'm so excited.
But before we get into all that, because we got a lot to talk about. It's gonna be a long one. Strap in, boys. Split it up. Chop it up. Watch it at different times. Don't watch it all at once. Okay, this is Critically Average Podcast. I'm Will.
Elijah.
Nice.
I keep switching between Elijah and Elijah because I go by so many different things.
You can find us on the iTunes podcast app under Critically Average. You can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, Castos. And you can find us on Twitter at Podcast Average and on Facebook. Just type in Critically Average in the search bar. Okay. Brother, movie news.
A lot of it.
What's it? A lot of good, a lot of bad.
I've noticed over the last month or so.
Yeah.
We usually record on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And Wednesday morning, usually a bunch of new movie stuff comes out.
Exactly.
And it's happened like last 3 weeks.
But now we're ahead of the curve.
Well, we're recording on a Wednesday.
Yesterday because we had a little conflict with the schedule. We were like, wait a minute, why are we doing that? We need to do that, and then maybe so this episode will come out tonight. And then Thursday we'll put up the next one because we're gonna do it
next
right
Thursday,
after. Yeah. Okay.
So we got early tickets, so we have time, and we won't be at 2 a.m. trying to talk.
Yeah, like exactly. So, I guess I'll do mine first, and then if you have some follow-ups that you don't hear that I tell you. Yeah. So, first things first. Shazam. Interesting news about that. The actress that played
Mary.
Yes, I think is her name.
The oldest adopted kid? Yeah.
Mary. She is signed up for 5 Marvel movies. I mean, DC movies. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
That would be really interesting news. Yeah, so.
That's interesting.
I kind of like it. I liked her. I liked Shazam.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that she might be coming back, especially because she's like, I thought she didn't get enough.
In that movie?
Yeah. Like the Asian kid got his lightning shooting powers, right? The kid that can't walk got to fly. The fat kid got to be strong. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like all the younger kids just got small little moments, but more, whereas in like Mary got one really big scene.
Her character before becoming a family of Shazam member.
I think she's like Mary Marvel.
Yeah.
I think is their comic name, but they can't use that.
Well. Yeah, no, they can't say that. But aren't they all Marvel? Something Marvel?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and he's just Captain?
Yeah, they have a problem because they can't just call it. I guess they can call each other by their name, but.
Yeah, it used to be owned by an old comic book thing, and then DC got it, and it used to be called Captain Marvel, and then Marvel was like, the fuck? And they're like, okay, all right, we can only. So they can actually still call him Captain Marvel within. You just can't put it on the cover.
Right.
That's it. But now we're in the movie universe. It's like very confusing. I mean, my parents can't even tell the difference between DC and Marvel.
Right.
So don't even need to throw a DC movie out there called Captain Marvel when a Captain Marvel movie just came out. Can you imagine the
confusion?
Conundrum.
And it just so happened they came out within a month of each other.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
But her human form got a lot of attention, but I feel like we didn't get to see her do much as Shazam, so that might be interesting to see what she can do.
Yeah. What do you think those 5 will be? Because does Shazam count as one, or is it 5 separate from Shazam?
5 movies? That's a good question.
Because I don't think they're gonna be cranking out Shazam 5, all the way.
And
out.
I don't know if anybody would sign up for 5 Shazams.
Yeah. So I guess they might be doing like a Justice League or something.
They might be
Some sort
trying
of
to
league.
fold something together. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like they might have Black Adam's going to be one.
That's true.
Shazam 2, if there is such a thing. If
Mhm.
it's not just Black Adam.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and as we know with the Marvel thing, like one of your movies can be Spider-Man, where you literally show up. What's it called? For 2 seconds as the school like do-gooder kind of. That I mean that counts,
Yeah.
So
And appearance. Yeah.
Deadpool. Kevin Feige has come out and said that they're not changing Deadpool.
Right.
Which, one, I think is a great idea. 2, I think could get a bit hairy for Marvel administration. Just saying, but who fucking cares? And 3, I think is really good idea on their part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like they definitely saved a lot of the fan base that way. Because I know, like, when Marvel or Disney went to go buy Fox,
Uh-huh.
everybody was like, that's cool and all, but what about Deadpool? It's like the one good thing they've made over the last few years, and you're going to take that away?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm pretty sure even the comic version of Deadpool was based off Ryan Reynolds.
why do you say that?
No, like I seriously believe that. Like I've heard it somewhere that it was based off Ryan Reynolds.
Wow.
So I feel like if they try to recast that, that'd be
I don't
really
think
dumb.
I don't think they were saying they were going to recast it. I think they're saying they're going to keep it R.
Oh, okay,
That's what
you-
they're talking about.
right. But I'm saying if they didn't keep Ryan Reynolds on.
Oh, that would be the worst.
yeah, that's
idea,
what I was talking about.
Period. I don't think they have any problems there.
No,
Because Ryan wants to do it, so I'm sure he doesn't ask for Tony Stark level, or he doesn't ask for Robert Downey
Yeah.
Jr. level,
money.
money. Even though doing some research for this, I don't think they got paid nearly as much on Infinity War and stuff. I think their price has actually gone down as they've gotten more attached to the universe. You know what I mean? Like they want to be there instead of just make a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Because the budget on Infinity War is not that high.
Yeah.
I mean, it's high. Don't get me wrong, but
I mean, it's still gonna
for the amount of people that are in it, you start sitting there thinking like, well, how much did you pay that dude?
Yeah.
Because that dude normally asks for like $50 million.
You know what's crazy though is Samuel L. Jackson has made more money than Robert Downey Jr. from acting, considering how highly paid Robert Downey Jr. is.
I think that's recently.
No, that's his whole just from the Star Wars movies. Samuel L. Jackson got paid more than that.
That makes sense to me though, because Samuel Jackson's been nonstop good actor, whereas Robert Downey Jr. has been to jail and lost a lot of his
And with Sherlock, yeah.
a lot of his steam. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'll do Hellboy first. So
Oof.
it got trashed by what's it called, critics.
Yeah.
And I mean, I haven't seen the movie. I don't plan on seeing the movie anytime soon. I think all hope for me wanting to see this movie was lost in the final scene of the trailer when he goes, "We could never be together. You're just a crazy bit." I'm like, oh my god, I wanted to puke. I was like,
Right.
wow, they called DC for that dialogue? Wow, Jesus Christ. But I don't know. Some people say it's good. Some people say it's fun or interesting. I mean, apparently it starts out really good
Yeah, that's what I heard.
and then falls down, but I don't know.
Yeah. Because it made $15 million opening weekend.
Yeah, it's the worst opening weekend of like a long time. Like literally nobody went to go see it.
Mhm.
Nobody.
And it had like 15% on like Rotten Tomatoes or something
Yeah.
like that as well.
I think last time I checked it was like 17. I bet it's down to like 12 now.
Well, because I looked it up after I saw how much it made to see how far off they were from their budget. It was only a $50 million budget.
That's not bad. They'll make that
Yeah, they'll make it back
because
but-
there are people that love Hellboy and want to go see it, And it's kind of sad because I don't know about, but like watching the trailers, it seemed more true to the source material.
Well, it's rated R as well.
It's rated
unlike
R.
the other ones.
It's got like really striking visuals, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
where he comes down as a boy with the horns and he's flying on the dragon and everything like that. It's just like it seemed like it could be really, really good, but then it's just like, eh. I don't know. This is the first time I've seen Rotten Tomatoes just like, man, right at the knees, and everything else is like sort of all right.
Yeah, but like the critic score is really low, but it's like 69-ish.
69% for people that
liked it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That happens. Cult classics, critics are going
Iron Giant, for instance.
Or or critics go in and they want to see a well fleshed out, what's it called, and the people that wanted to see Hellboy on the screen, and so that's what they got, kind of. You know what I mean? So yeah, interesting. Probably not a good sign for David Harbour and the Hellboy
He'll
franchise.
Be fine. Oh, the Hellboy franchise maybe, but
David Harbour will be
fine.
Let's see. Star Wars Episode 9 trailer.
A lot of Star Wars stuff, actually.
Yeah, actually, quite a bit. Well, that's because Star Wars Celebration was
That's true.
last week.
Yeah.
But The Mandalorian,
which again happened on a Wednesday, I'm pretty sure.
Did it really?
I think.
The Mandalorian teaser got leaked, and it looks pretty interesting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Pedro Pascal, so.
Are you gonna get the Disney?
Yeah.
What is it? Disney Plus? Is that the streaming service?
Is it Disney Plus?
That's what I thought.
That sounds so like
basic.
I think it's right. I think you're right. I think it's Disney Plus.
Are you gonna get it?
Yeah.
I will too.
It's like $5, right?
I hope.
To be fair, Disney has a lot to offer, but
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not all at once. Like they'll release stuff gradually.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I'll get it.
I think they said like Captain Marvel might go on first.
the one I really don't want to rewatch.
But I really hope they could hear your nostril breathing.
Just my little like.
That's funny.
Oh Lord.
But anyway, back to the Mandalorian.
Yeah, the Mandalorian I think is gonna be good, so I'll definitely get it just for that, just because I want to see an adult version of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Not like, it doesn't have to be like gruesome like Game of Thrones adult, but just something a little more than like fucking Destiny and bleh.
Yeah. Because I was always big fans of the bounty hunters in
the Fets.
Them like IG-88.
But
especially I always picked IG-88 on Lego Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
For instance,
IG-88
he was always
dope.
a baller.
Dengar, Bosk, I love all those characters.
Yeah. That one girl, I can't remember her name.
Like it's like they spent hours and hours and Aurora
something. Don't remember.
The one, which one are you talking about? The one
I'm talking one from Attack of the Clones.
Oh, you're talking about Zam.
Yeah, something like that.
Zam Wilson, I think her name is. Zam. It's Zam.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, I think what's it called? I think they spent a lot of times fleshing out the bounty hunters, like visually and everything like that, and then they just didn't. Like they just said, okay, let's make one scene where they're all standing there with Vader. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to see those characters. They look interesting, And then Boba Fett. Everybody loves Boba Fett, but it's mainly because of his aesthetic, nothing to do with his character.
That actually reminds me, I was watching an episode of The Simpsons recently, and they made fun of Boba Fett on it, because Bart was like, all right, I'll become a mercenary like Boba Fett. And then Homer was in the background and says, oh, Boba Fett? You mean the guy that that never does anything but has his armor's all scratched up and like badly painted? It's like, it's an aesthetic look. He's like, oh, anywhere he has got a jetpack and a cape. Pick a fashion dummy or something.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. Like, let's burn our jetpack. Yeah, it's Zam Wessel.
Oh, okay, Zam Wessel.
And then there's Imbo too, but he's from the Clone Wars cartoons.
Show?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He's probably in. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think it'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're talking about a Loki TV show, a
WandaVision.
Won't be watching that shit unless there's like 1,000 people that are like, it's good. We'll talk about it in a minute. You took what is? You just knock?
I didn't touch anything.
What was that?
I think that's next door.
Seriously?
I think so. It sounded like it was behind me, or they might be outside.
Sorry.
They might be on their porch.
The cops were here the other night.
Nice.
To be fair, living the best life. Oh Lord. No, what's it called? What was I talking about? Oh,
WandaVision?
You took what are possibly my two least favorite like characters / just plot points in Infinity War and went, let's make a show out of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, also just call it something different.
Well, it's WandaVision, right?
It's WandaVision. Why would you do that? Just call it Vision or the Vision and Scarlet Witch or
Hotel Revision or like Hotel Rwanda.
Hotel
Rwanda. Rwanda. There it is. And then they're doing Captain America or Bucky and Falcon.
Or just call it something completely different. You don't have to name it after the character.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
I don't know.
The Loki, I'm curious about the Loki thing. And actually, it'll play into something I have to talk about later.
Cool.
All right. That's all I got. Oh, let's talk about the trailer. The Star Wars 9 trailer.
There's 2 trailers.
Was there?
Yeah, we'll talk about this one first.
What's the other trailer?
It's another Star Wars one, but it's not the movie trailer.
Oh. I haven't seen it. All right, Star Wars Episode 9 trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So
a lot.
Not really, though. The first minute, it's a 2-minute and 15-second long trailer, and the first minute is her standing in the desert.
Yes.
With a lightsaber.
And a voiceover.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
More sand.
Are they back on Tatooine?
I think it's the other planet.
You think it's Jakku?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Tatooine. Do you know why I think it's Tatooine?
Nope.
Because there's a scene with Poe and Finn, which, by the way, thank God they're back together.
Yeah.
Fuck Rose. No, not the actress. The character. She's great. Fuck Rose Tico and Finn. Like, I don't want anything
You don't
to do
ship
with that.
it.
No, I don't ship it. Plus, isn't she dead? Isn't she supposed to be dead?
That's what I thought. But they cure death, apparently.
J.J. Abrams is just like, shh, you're back. Mary Trent, you're back. Since you got yelled at on Instagram and Facebook, we're going to bring you back and pay you millions. God almighty, this universe is so fucked up. All right. But yeah, they're riding on one of those ships that is in episode 2. Joba, what is that his name? Jabba, when they're on that ship.
By episode 2, you mean 5?
Yes. Episode 5. God. You know the ship that they're on and they're dropping people into the Sarlacc pit?
Yeah.
And then there's those
Is
satellite...
that Tatooine?
They're like the little satellite ships. Yeah, it's Tatooine. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they get dropped on Tatooine. Those little satellite ships.
My reference is Lego Star Wars. I'm trying to think in my head.
You know, they're like the little barges, just the little ones. Like, he's got his big ship, and then they got the little ones. And, you know, Luke does like that flip off of it with the lightsaber and cuts that dude.
Yeah.
And that's where Jango...
That's 6. Sorry.
I don't know.
I'm interrupting you. I'm
that's
sorry.
where Boba dies. They're riding around on those. There's a scene, like, very quickly that they're riding around on those. That's what makes me think it's Tatooine. Unless all desert planets have the exact same ship aesthetics, which would
or they got
doesn't make much sense, but would make sense for a Star Wars movie. I think J.J. Abrams is just gonna rewrite everything.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Do you think they're like retconning most of?
I think it's just gonna be the
Last
most
Jedi?
obvious thing on the planet.
Ah.
I think they're gonna go, hey, remember when Kylo looked like he was going to be good for a minute? He's actually back. He's good. And he's going to be the last Skywalker because technically he's the Skywalker.
Half, yeah.
Well, I mean...
Well, technically his name's Solo, but...
Yeah, but if it was...
His mom is a Skywalker.
Yeah, and if Luke went and fucked some chick, then Rey would be half Skywalker too, if that's his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So, regardless, they're all half. But he's still a Skywalker, right? People have been talking about that they think, I think this was on the Weekly Planet and other places, but they think the Skywalker is going to be the new Jedi.
Yeah.
If that's the truth, that's disgusting.
That's dumb.
That is dumb. For Skywalkers, like, who's walking around like, who are you guys? We're the Skywalkers.
Well, when you say Star Wars to someone, the first thing people always think is Jedi Sith.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're super easy to remember, and they're very cool.
And it's been
but
going
you're gonna
on.
change
it's
it
been
to
going on for
Skywalker.
thousands of years in the canon, and you're just gonna be like, nope. All right. So other than that,
the Emperor's back.
Emperor's back,
supposedly.
So people think he's gonna be a Force ghost.
Or I've heard clone.
I don't think people understand. It is strictly said most of the time that Sith cannot become Force ghosts.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
But in the remake of 6 that they put out with the new shit put in, the new, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
the new fancy looking stuff.
Yeah,
they put Anakin in.
But it was him as a Jedi.
Is Anakin a Sith or a Jedi?
Well, this because in the end of 6, he restored order to the Force. I think that was like switching back.
Okay, that's fair. Plus, he was a Jedi at one point, whereas the Emperor has never been a Jedi. Right?
Correct.
So I think it's him. I think it's him.
You think it's actually the
absolutely
Emperor?
Yes. I hope it is, because
that'd be cooler than a ghost or a clone.
Because in the canon, like in the legends back in the day, dude, the Emperor is badass. Like, he is scary, right? And in the movies, he's just a decrepit old man. It's like he's got really good lightning powers, but then he just gets beat by Darth Vader like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to see him like, oh, you thought I was dead? Watch this. You know what I just think that would be so much more interesting. But
well, they need someone since they killed off Plagueis? No. What was Plagueis? What was the guy from the last
Everybody wished he was Darth Plagueis. He's fucking right. Snoke, and he's nobody.
That's what it was.
He's a nobody. He also got killed in a way that basically breaks the whole universe. Apparently, you can turn on lightsabers with the Force from a distance. So does that mean you can turn off other people's lightsabers with the Force?
Why not just do that?
So then, what are you doing? You just fighting each other with the Force the whole time, not to turn off each other's lightsabers? God, that's so bullshit, dude. Yeah. Rian Johnson, I swear. His writer's room is just a whole bunch of whiteboards, and they're just like... Yes,
we're a bunch of yes men, yeah, exactly.
So smart. Yeah. You're so smart, Ryan. All right.
But the other trailer I was talking about was the video game.
Oh, I have seen that.
Yeah, that actually looks really sick.
And some of the stuff that EA's been saying about it looks very promising.
It's all single player, no microtransactions or anything like that.
It sounds like the new Spider-Man for me. Like Spider-Man on PS4, I sunk my life in that game for like a few days.
Yeah. I've heard it could be like a Dark Souls sort of game as well.
Yeah, where you have to like actually try instead of just
where it's not like
mash.
Button masher.
I think it will be though, because EA is going to try to, what do you call it, sell it to a wider audience. But I don't think it'll be like. I think it'll be more along the lines of like, have you ever played Batman games?
Yeah. Where I was thinking Uncharted.
No.
No. Okay.
Uncharted is more gun focused. I think it's.
I
more
just meant like the movements and running around stuff.
I think you're right there, but I think like over the shoulder third person. Right.
That's what I was thinking.
First person.
I think third person would be better.
I think third person too.
Because first person you can't see what
the lightsaber.
The aesthetics. Especially if you can customize it, because that's
true.
What most people want.
I didn't even think about that, because you can get different like robes and shit. Yeah.
That's what people want. Honestly.
I think it'll be like where you have to you can button mash all you want, but you're gonna get kicked. You're gonna get your ass kicked. Like I think you have to parry, and in Batman where like he and you have to hit a button to dodge.
Yes.
Or counter. That's what I think. That's what it'll be like.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with.
Oh yeah, it looks really good.
As long as the gameplay around it is interesting, and I hope it has some flying stuff, like something, because Jedis were known for having their own starships.
Yeah.
Right, and flying like this,
good pilots.
This beginning of episode 2, isn't it? 3. That's why it's good.
Yeah.
Because they're flying around. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think accidentally they leaked. They're working on a new Lego game.
Oh. Is it just 9? Episode 9?
No, I don't know. Hopefully it's the complete saga.
Hopefully it's the Old Republic. Low key.
Well, maybe. Who knows?
What was I going to say? You also have a droid, buddy. Because I know in one of the pre-order things you get a droid companion.
A lot of droids.
Aesthetic. I like that. That's cool. Yeah, that new droid that they released with BB-8.
Why do you need that? You have C-3PO, R2-D2,
a shittier version of BB-8. Are they going back in time? Like you have this technology to make this awesome like rolling droid which can't go up steps or anything. You know what I mean? And I think he can. But for a universe full of cutting edge transportation devices, they really gave themselves the shittiest droid companions on the planet.
One's a stick, basically. One doesn't have really legs. One's a ball.
One's a ball. This other one's a wheel. And the one, like R2, for example, he has the weirdest, like, setup. You can just knock him over. Or like,
he's just a little tripod, yeah.
It's so weird. I get it. It's like for, to look cool. But shouldn't they just be hovering? I mean, that would be so much easier. You wouldn't have to pick them up and put them inside the cockpit. They just do their thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. Just nitpicking.
Yeah.
All right, you got anything else?
I don't think so. Mostly the big news was the Star Wars thing.
Yep. I'm not excited.
For 9?
Nope. Because...
Poor J.J. Abrams.
Oh, I meant to make... I feel so bad for him. I meant to make a bold prediction. This movie's going to be 3 hours and 10 minutes long. Without a doubt. Because he needs all the real estate he can get to switch this thing.
And it comes out, what, November? December?
Yeah. And the other reason I say that is because if your first scene in your trailer is a minute long of just one thing happening, I'm like, I know where this is going. We're going to get hours and hours and hours of this. Yep. And if they're going to bring back the Emperor, like, how are they going to package all this shit together in less than 3 hours? And I think...
Honestly, I could see...
Emperor, you're back. Oh, wait. People watched Infinity War, and people are about to watch Endgame. We can make ours 3 hours long, right? No.
Big difference.
No, you cannot.
Big difference.
Yeah. There's a reason we want to watch 3 hours of Endgame. If there was 3 hours of The Last Jedi, I'd be like, how long is The Last Jedi? Dude, it felt so long. I was like,
it did feel really long.
Can we get off of this rock with Luke, please? What are we doing? All right.
Yeah. I don't want to watch...
Like, we learned about Rey, this cool character, right?
Yeah.
As much as she's, like, groundbreaking and is, like, automatically an amazing Jedi and shit, can we go, like, see someone else?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Brother, are you ready?
Yes. The culmination. 2 hours, 33 minutes, by the way.
Jesus. Okay.
The culmination.
Infinity War Part 1. And our prelude to Endgame next week.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot to deliver.
Sweet. That's why we basically put it off a day for you could research all your stuff.
Pretty much. So basically, let me get this started. We're going way back. Jump in the Wayback Machine. We're going to the 90s. Okay? In the 90s, Marvel stock fell from $35 a share to $2.30 in 3 years.
Nice.
Things are going bad. Okay? Print is not selling as well. So the company is on the verge of bankruptcy. Okay? Perelman. The leader at Marvel at this time decided Marvel was deep in debt and tried something new, and he created Marvel Studios, a new film venture for the company. Okay? Now, he did this when Marvel was deep in debt, right? So, like, last-ditch effort, let's just make this, see what happens, okay? Then they proceeded to sell off their most beloved characters through the Marvel Studios system to Fox and Sony, that being Spider-Man and X-Men, right?
And Fantastic Four.
And the Fantastic Four as well, which, by the way, were the 3 highest-selling characters that they owned in comics.
Mm-hmm.
So, in 2003, a talent agent named David Maisel came to Marvel and basically said, hey, why don't you make movies yourself instead of selling out to these other guys to just break even and survive, right? Because Sony and Marvel, Sony and Fox helped them survive till 2003. And he said, hey, and since they already cross over all over the comics, why don't you do that with the movies? So David Maisel is basically a genius, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
So they started down this path by offering their intellectual property of their most famous characters, besides the ones they had already gotten rid of and sold to contracts to other companies that could basically have them hold on to it forever unless they stop making movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they keep producing shit Fantastic Four movies, but we're done with that. Get this. They sold Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, amongst others, to the bank. To the bank, dude. And they said they held those intellectual properties as collateral in case the movies didn't make money. Whew. Okay. They were given $525 million for this from the bank over 7 years to make 10 movies. And they began with Iron Man. Then in 2007, and by the way, they didn't make Iron Man. This was back in 2005. So we still got 3 years before a movie will be made, right?
Yep.
Then in 2007, they hired Kevin Feige and they hired Jon Favreau to direct Iron Man. And as they say, the rest is history, and we're now here.
Yes.
Now, what is here? 21 films have been made.
Yep.
Not only that, they have paid back the collateral to their bank. They have all the intellectual properties as their own. They're the #1 movie studio, basically, period. They've now got Spider-Man back from Sony in some ways, and they have Fox back completely. They bought the movie studio that they gave one of their two best characters, two best franchises to. That's a big turnaround. All of this took 10 years for them to do. That's impressive.
Very impressive.
That is insane. And we have been
We've witnessed
lucky
it all. Just about it all, yeah.
To see it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we're part of the reasons that it was successful is because we went to go see the movies. But the movies were good. So that's why we went to go see them.
That's probably one of the easiest but most hardest things to get right. Good movies.
Exactly. Just making 21 of them?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to that in a minute. So, all linked together with a hint at the end of the first movie. They had this, Kevin Feige had this idea. Well, I guess it's David Maisel, but Kevin Feige latched on and he had enough comic book knowledge to actually run the ship and say, this is how we're going to connect everything and work together with his people and Jon Favreau to connect the very first movie. We're not talking like 6 or 7 movies in. They're like, oh, let's connect this. We're talking about the first one. Had an end credit scene with one of the most recognizable Avengers characters in Nick Fury, the one that brings them all together. You know? Awesome. So, since then, they've put in $4.2 billion in budget into their movies. You know how much they've gotten back? And this is just box office alone. This is not toys. This is not movie sales after the fact. This is not franchises. This is not anything.
$10 billion.
$18.5 billion.
Jeez. I thought I was overshooting.
Pretty nuts,
That's
right?
insane.
Now get this. What's it called? Infinity War. I'm jumping a little ahead here. Infinity War made $2.048 billion. So they over the entire time of the MCU, that one movie made 50% of their total budget for 21 films back like that.
Ridiculous.
Nuts. Okay. So Thor the Dark World is the lowest rated, obviously.
To us or by everyone?
Everyone.
Or like,
to everyone
okay.
and by us. At 66% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's still like a halfway decent movie.
It is.
Above average, technically.
It's, technically. Which I don't agree with some of these Rotten Tomatoes. Like, for example, Black Panther is the highest rated at 97%.
Yeah.
That's not true. But on average...
Hey, we think it's the third best, or third or fourth best.
Yeah.
So
on average, but not 97%. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is 97%. Okay.
Agreed.
All 21 films, including Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's certifiable fresh.
Mm-hmm.
They've made 21 movies, which together as a whole are good. And that's by critics, right?
Yeah.
When you talk to fans, all up there. You know what I mean? They're all pretty high up there, except for the glowing shitters, you know?
Dark World and Iron Man 3.
Really, when you're talking about Marvel movies, you put them into like 4 categories. There's like the highest of the highs, right? There's like, damn, that was good. There's like, that was a movie. And then there's like, okay, maybe we'll do better next time, right? Like, those are the 4 categories. And there's like 2 or 3 and maybe we'll do better next time.
I think there's only 2. Really?
What? Thor the Dark World and...
Iron Man 3?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Then the one above that I would say is Iron Man 2 and maybe Captain Marvel.
And Ant-Man, I'd say.
And Ant-Man.
But Ant-Man's a higher up towards the, it's just a movie. And it's pretty good. But that's impressive. So that's what got us to this point. Now it's time to talk about the movie that culminated all this, brought everything together, brought mainly every single character from the 21 films all together to fight Thanos.
Yes.
Okay. $400 million budget, which I thought was kind of low after seeing this movie. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like I said, it made 50% of the entire budget of the Marvel Studios for all their movies back, which is insane. Directed by the one and only Anthony Russo. Just kidding. And his brother.
Both.
The Russos. Yeah, and then there's just a humongous ensemble cast. For some reason that I was going to like look up and be like, check this out. This is so cool. But Avengers Age of Ultron and Avengers have more cast members listed than in Infinity War. So I don't know if the way they list cast members changed since then. But
I don't know.
It has 108 listed cast members. And
Which
every
one?
single one of those is like has a spot in the movie. Isn't like an extra. Isn't it's a character in the movie. 108 people. Like if you put 108 people in a room, you'd be like, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then if you put the extras that it took to make that movie, you'd be like, that's a city of people right there.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the. I know a lot of them are digitally added, but think about all the people sort of close to the screen in like Wakanda and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
But, I mean, besides the Wakanda scene, what other scene is there more than 5 people in once?
New York.
I don't even know if I would say there was probably like 20 people on screen.
You're not wrong. It's more of it's a more intimate movie. Whereas like Avengers 1, like there's a lot more civilians just doing things.
Especially Age of Ultron, because they're trying to get
Age
all
of
the
Ultron is really Age of Ultron had like 158 people listed.
Yeah.
But 108 people listed as roles in a movie that isn't like extra 1 and extra 2 is a lot of folk. Some of these include Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Benedict Cumberbatch, Don Cheadle. These are all huge actors. Okay?
These are all they would lead their own movie sort of actors.
And a lot of them are big before coming into here. Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch is probably one of the biggest. You know what I mean? The fact that he actually took that role is insane.
We're very blessed.
And then there's ones that have kind of come up because of it. Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Tom Holland, Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick was a little more. Paul Bettany, most people didn't even know him except for his voice before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Vision and
then you got people that are now just like huge majors, right? The few I've mentioned already. But then you got like Zoe Saldana, and Josh Brolin and Chris Pratt. Like, if you know how they make those really cool movies every once in a while, like Old Bad Times of the Old Royale, and they like list all these big actors one after another. If you did that for this movie, it would just go on and on and on, and most people would be like, I know that person, I know that person, I know that person. It's like, it's nuts the amount of people in this.
Paul Rudd we didn't even mention.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Rudd was huge before this.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, you know he's 50.
Yeah, he doesn't look 50 at all.
He doesn't age. He's he's like Keanu Reeves. Like they just never age.
Keanu Reeves is crazy. I don't know how that dude does what he does at 50. Yeah. He's older than 50, isn't he?
I don't know. But I'm saying, like, they look like they've never aged.
All right. So that's the backstory. A lot to it.
Yeah.
I just thought that was important to go through because
that was very important.
Some people don't just realize that this isn't just a movie. Like, there's a lot to this. This is a story of a company going from literally bankrupt in the 90s to being the #1 movie studio that everybody knows, is in every household. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And is making a movie that has 2 fucking directors and all these actors and everything. And it all connects. It's all intertwined.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about Avengers Infinity War.
Well, let's start by talking about the experience. Because me and you went together, just me and you, to go see it. And on the car trip there, we were talking about it the whole time. And we were like predicting who we think was going to die.
Yep.
and both of us were just like 2 people maybe.
Yeah.
Like
we were both like, we both thought like, I thought for sure like either Cap or Iron Man was gonna die, because I was like, they're the 2 biggest.
Yeah.
And I think they have to like either retcon it or do something like to avenge them in the second movie, right? And now we know that's completely.
Yeah, 'cause I remember I said I thought, for sure, Black Panther wouldn't die.
Yeah, exactly. We were
like, that was my lock for gonna live.
I said Groot was not gonna die because he literally just died like a few movies ago.
And I thought Doctor Strange would die, which I did get right. I thought because I didn't know anything quite yet about. I'm just saying. Okay, dusted, died, same thing.
Oh no! I when we mentioned die, we mean they got dusted.
Yeah. Okay. And because I just thought he was not necessarily in it for the long run, so I was like, he could happily die.
Yeah.
That was the wrong reason. So.
And people that didn't even like, not that they weren't important, but they didn't hit our radar because we didn't think they were like gonna bother dealing with them. I mean, we're talking spoilers right away. By the way, if you haven't seen this movie yet, what are you doing?
Know many people that haven't too.
Exactly, but spoilers right away. If you haven't seen it, like Heimdall, right? I mean, Loki. Like, these are the people that I didn't think they were gonna kill, and they like killed them. You know?
Yeah.
Gamora. I didn't think she was gonna die. I was like, no way. Like, killed like by Thanos' hand. You know what I mean? Pretty nuts.
Yeah.
And I actually have some interesting things to say when you said about Doctor Strange.
Okay.
But I'll tell you later because it's part of the list.
Okay.
But yeah. So let's just get right into it. So right off the bat, like, we literally spawn in.
And it's
in the movie.
Yeah, he's destroyed the
chaos.
Asgard ship. Yeah.
There's Asgardians floating around in space, dead. Right?
Yeah.
And you got to see his ship show up at the end
of Ragnarok.
Yeah, and I was expecting them to get like boarded and captured, and maybe Thanos used that as like a way to draw out the Avengers or something like that. I did not think he was just gonna step on there and destroy shit, you know?
Yeah.
And
well, I guess maybe. I'm trying to think. I think he was. Do you think he was going for the stones, or was going to Asgard to try to wipe out half?
No, because I think Asgard is a realm. It's not a.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think he was just going because he's talking about going planet to planet.
Yeah.
I don't think he really cares about Asgard.
They're fine.
I think he went. He's going for the stones, and he's like, I think he may not have been able to see one or find it because it's on Asgard being guarded. And the minute it left, do you know what I'm saying? They were like, yup, going for it. Like, they just spotted it. I think that's why he showed up so quickly. You know what I mean? They had been in space for like, what, a few minutes? And all of a sudden he was there? So, yeah.
Yeah, because they just decided to find a new home.
Exactly.
You see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you see Thor's basically beaten up. Like, he didn't really show it, but he's just like getting dragged around by Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says we have a Hulk, and then the Hulk just gets manhandled too. Yeah.
Yeah, you get that cool callback from Loki where he's like,
we have a Hulk.
We have a Hulk. And you're like, oh, Loki, I wish it worked as well as it did whenever we use it on you. But
yeah.
And yeah, I think it was one of the most interesting, what do you call it? Introductions of a villain. You know what I mean? Because it just throws you straight in.
Basically, the two most powerful Avengers we know so far are the Hulk and Thor.
Yeah.
And both of them just got manhandled, yeah.
And one's being held down by not only Thanos himself, but a child of Thanos. Mm-hmm. Like, he's being manhandled.
Yeah, because he gets like bonded. With the metal
by all
pieces.
the metal.
Yeah.
Like, he's being controlled by someone that's not even as powerful as Thanos. So it's like, immediately you get the stakes. Immediately you get the like, oh shit, you know.
And then two very big characters die almost immediately. Heimdall and Loki.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I have written down, Loki's scenes in this are like, he's only in this movie for 5 minutes. But, man, it's so pure to Loki. Like, they didn't mess up his character because he's standing in front of what is the most powerful being in the universe here soon, right? They didn't mess him up. He does what Loki would do. He tries to.
That reminds me, actually, when we went to see it, the theater we went to, it's actually, they're smaller theaters, so there's not as many seats and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're the big recline ones. And then the people that sat next to us weren't there when the movie started. And this lady walked up, and when she sat there, she was like, "Did I miss anything?" And this was like after, like, Loki died. I was like, yeah.
If you're gonna be that worried about missing something, how are you showing up to this movie late?
Right.
Like,
I mean, you don't know what people are going through, but still.
Yeah, they could have gotten or like, got stuck in traffic or something like that. But that's hilarious though. Yeah. You're like, did I miss anything? Like, I think you'd be surprised how quickly this movie gets started because two people are dead. And Thor's in space. So yeah, about that.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, Loki like trying to betray Thanos immediately. Like, okay, so at first he's like, "Oh, we can beat this dude." Then he's like, "Okay, we can't beat this dude. Let me be a shitter." Then he's like, "Never mind, I'm not actually being a shitter." And then he's like, "Actually, wait a minute. You're gonna need me when you go to Earth." And then it's just like
a tour guy. Yeah. Well, because they have history.
Yeah, but that's just Loki's like demeanor. He's like, you could tell he was for the good cause, and then the minute the good cause lost, he's like, okay, I'm for myself. Yep. Right? And then the minute he can't save himself, he's like, you need me. Yeah. You know what I mean? He like tries to keep himself alive, right? Yeah, so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. It's nice to see characters stay consistent to what they always been.
Like, Loki didn't just change because the stakes have changed. He's
like,
just,
any movie he's been in, he's always been a tweener.
He always betrays, and then eventually he's like, all right, I guess I'll help you because it helps me, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Hulk gets sent to Earth, which is pretty cool. Thank you, Heimdall. It could have gone badly if we didn't.
His last action.
Yeah, because if Heimdall doesn't send Hulk, right, then I don't think Tony reacts the same. Because when Tony saw that he
Hulk, doesn't believe Strange at first when Strange tried to warn him, but then Bruce showed up. It was like, Tony. Oh my God, Bruce. Because Pepper and Tony were in the park, and then Strange just showed up through a ring. It was like Tony Stark, the fate of the universe, or whatever.
But wasn't that because the Hulk flew through? So then he sees... like I said, exactly. So he shows up, and he sees Banner.
Yeah.
Like... Tony, we need to do something. And he hasn't seen him in a few years. He's like, oh shit. Yeah. Maybe something is real going on.
Yeah.
And you could tell it immediately, actually. It's actually a really good scene in the movie because you could see when he hears, he's like, this is what it's about, And all that PTSD in Iron Man 3 actually kind of comes to fruition. You're like, okay, I get why he was scared. It's because it's, when he went into space, I think he saw something.
Yeah, only saw the vision of all the Avengers dead. Too,
exactly.
In Age of Ultron.
Yeah. So, I think he's actually like, okay, wow, so things are getting crazy.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. Doesn't he say that?
Say what?
He says, this is it. Like, this is it. This is what I've been worried about. This is what I've been planning for.
Well, in Age of Ultron, it says or this is it. That up there is the end game or something.
Lol. No, I'm pretty sure in this movie, when Banner's like, it's Thanos, Tony. He's coming. Pretty sure he goes, this is it. Like, this is... Like, he has a self moment where he's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
This is what I've been planning for. This is why I exist. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the... And then we get introduced to, the big ship comes down.
Well, is that next?
What'd you say? What?
Yeah, that's next.
Yeah, because they're all standing there talking... like what's going on in the Sanctum Sanctorum, and all of a sudden the wind starts blowing. And he goes, and it was, Doc, you wouldn't happen to be moving your hair, would you?
Yeah, I really love the Tony Stark, Doctor Strange.
Oh, just seeing those egos clash.
Them two clash, yeah, that's great.
But yeah, they step outside.
Well, and real quick, it was funny because Tony doesn't know that his cape is like sentient. And so like the cape slapped Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And he's like getting all offended about it.
Yeah, he's very weirded out. He's like, what? Because he's a man of science and mechanics and, you know what I mean? And so he sees this cape just slap him. He's like, what? And he's very disgusted. He's like, wait a minute, did a cape just slap me?
Yeah.
And I love when he sees him later in the ship. You could see
he's
the
just floating
animosity
around.
is
He's
still
like,
there.
Yeah.
And he's still like, oh, you bastard. You're the one that slapped me.
Yeah. That was funny.
The cape is the best, by the way. We get Wong as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Wong is really good. Like, he's very funny. He's like, do you not have... He goes, no, possessions disconnect me from
says, connection to the material is...
world is disconnection from the eternal.
Spiritual, I think.
He goes, but I would take a tuna melt. But yeah, they go outside and you can
see
tell
the giant
Tony,
donut.
Yep. And Tony's like very, very cocky at this point, right?
Well, he isn't.
He doesn't know
Nobody's
what's
getting
coming.
into.
Sorry, Earth is closed today.
Squidward. We call him Squidward.
That's right. This movie starts out really funny amidst all the chaos that's about to
death
ensue.
that just happened.
Yeah, well, they don't know that yet.
Well, yeah.
At the end, there's no jokes. Like when everyone's dying, it's all somber. There's no jokes.
Mm-mm.
But yeah. How'd you feel about the children of Thanos? How'd you like them?
I wish I learned all their names. I only knew like 2 of them. Those are really cool names. But
yeah.
there's Ebony Maw, which is Squidward.
Yep.
And then there's Proxima Midnight, which was the girl.
Yep.
I don't know the other 2's name.
Yeah, I think it's a slight flaw in this movie that they're a little, but I mean you only have so much time.
Yeah, it's hard to
work them through, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Ebony Maw is definitely the most interesting. I would say, because he's like cool, you know. He's got all these, yeah, and he's very I don't know. He's
like a monk. Almost
he's a very weird character, you know.
Yeah.
You have been given the great pleasure of being murdered.
he seems very like horny of his job.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Dude, he loves being Thanos' right hand man.
Yeah. So
like when he gives him the stone, he's like, "You are the first man to wield the power of 3 Infinity Stones." He's like very excited. Yeah. Thanos is just like
getting moist.
He's like, "Yeah, that's what the plan is, Ebony. I plan on getting 3 more. So you're gonna tell me every single time I get one. You know what I mean?" Oh man, and I like how that's getting too far. Yeah, I think the big guy is kind of just irrelevant.
He's just a muscle. That's all he does. Because he doesn't even speak fluently. He just grunts.
Yeah. I do like the fight in the. I like the whole Ebony Mall. The New York scene is one of my favorites. I think it's because you get.
And Spider-Man shows up as well.
He goes, "All right, Banner, we need the big guy."
Yeah.
It's like, can you not look at me? Don't look at me. He's like turning kind of green at his neck.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Wong, can you make sure he's okay?"
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. I like it. And you get to see Tony get a little bit of respect for Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange get a little respect for Tony, you know? Because, what's it called? Because Strange shows what he can do with his powers. Because he steps out and immediately shuts down the wind making whatever.
Yeah,
He immediately. And, so and that's also cool. You get to see a lot more interesting stuff from Strange other than just fucking hand shields and whips, you know?
Yeah.
Like fucking laser whips and hand
like compared
shields.
to the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of stuff.
He's definitely tried a lot more. I like Spider-Man. I love that he sees something. Yep. And he sees something going on and he immediately like, I gotta go save it.
Well,
like,
it's spider sense.
It's a giant freaking spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, that's my job.
Yep.
I don't know, Parker. I think you're more low-level crime, but yeah. So he goes, and yep.
And he what is it? Stowaway. That's what he gets called. His stowaways on the ship and goes with them to Titan.
Yeah. So the ship takes off and Tony gets on it. Tony flies after it because Strange gets captured by Ebony Maw, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Strange goes after it, and Wong and
Banner stay.
And so Spider-Man, how did Spider-Man get?
Because he was attached. He got beamed up. He said, "Mr. Stark, I'm getting beamed up."
Yep.
And then he's holding on, but he's losing oxygen, and then gets the new suit and the parachute, but he whips around.
Yeah, he stays with it, and when Tony told him to go home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you get that really kind of after the fact, like the first watching, I didn't think it was that bad, but after the fact, the Pepper phone call is like really sad. You're like, oh shit.
Especially because it just breaks up, loses connection.
Yeah, and then like with the new trailer, he's like talking to Pepper. You know what I mean? Like when he's talking to the helmet, I think he's sending that to Pepper. I think that's what his goal was. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like who else is he confiding
it's definitely
with?
Pepper. Yeah.
You know, he may not be speaking to her directly, but I think he's leaving those recordings for her to find. So that she knows like he had to go do something. You know, but I feel bad for him. Yeah. So, let's see, and then then you get to see them. You know, Spider-Man shows up and he's like, "Hey, Mr. Stark, I happen to stay on the ship."
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're supposed to go home. Now we're up in space.
Mm-hmm.
And the cape is they're like a little trio.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
A second.
Well, the cape's like, because Spider-Man's talking, and then the cape is right next to Iron Man, and it's just like, what? You know, it's just freaking out whatever Spider-Man's saying, like it's a person. You know.
Yeah.
That's funny. And then, you know, they fight Ebony Maw because he said, "You ever seen Alien, where they just bust a hole in the ship?"
Yeah. And so he's like, "You ever seen that really old movie?" So
which is a Marvel or Disney property now, by the way.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Alien and Predator are.
Interesting. But yeah, that's a good scene because Ebony is kind of pissed off because he can't get the time gem because I think what the idea is that either he has to break the spell or you have to kill him to break the spell.
Something, yeah.
Something weird like that. Right?
No, because you said breaking a dead man's curse is like bad luck or something, or trying to.
Yeah, because Ebony could have just murdered him with one of the little things that he's putting in him. Yeah, and that's why Thanos can't get him off him until he's like, you have to spare Tony's life.
Yeah.
Which he probably would have just walked up to Strange and ripped it off his neck.
Probably, I think he's strong enough.
I think Doctor Strange set that up so that Tony would live because he knows Tony has to live to fix it. But that's later on. So yeah, you get that really cool scene. They save them, and then they're on their way to Titan because that's where the ship's going.
Yep, autopilot.
So, yep. And then I think it switches over to Thor, doesn't it?
Guardians going to the rescue beacon, and then Thor just
By the way,
on there.
Great scene. With the Guardians, just doing their Guardian things.
Yeah, just
they're all
themselves.
singing.
Well, they don't know what's going on yet, so they're all.
Oh, they're just doing their thing. They're just. I like to see that, like when characters are just doing their normal thing, you know. Because at the end of the Guardians 2, it's like, so what are they gonna do, you know?
Yeah.
And they're just the Guardians of the Galaxy, basically. That's what they do. So they just drive around and
look for money, basically.
Stop at beacons to help people. Or to get that good dough.
Yeah, that's what they're like. You know, and if we help them, hopefully we'll get paid. Yeah. And then Gamora's like, "That's not what it's all about." He's like, "No."
And Tony's like, "No, that's not what it's about." And then he looks at Rocket. And
but if they don't pony up, we steal their ship. Bingo.
And he has to keep going back to Gamora. Like, isn't Drax just asleep? Isn't he just passed out?
Just snoring, head back.
Yeah. And he's like, game faces everybody, and Drax is Groot is just playing his video games.
We get basically teenage Groot.
Yep.
Son of Groot.
And then listen to Rubber Band Man.
Yep.
Man. Yep. Okay. Good scene.
Good scene with Thor.
And then you get to see Thor. Thor is alive and floating around in space because the ship's been destroyed because Thanos power stones the ship before he leaves.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, he power stones and then teleports out. Yeah. So the ship basically disintegrates, I imagine. So they get him in, and then there's just like what is probably the funniest few minutes of the movie is all the interactions between Drax, Gamora, Thor, and Rocket, and
Mantis. She was part of one later, but
basically that whole scene with all those guys. Groot's kind of just in the background, but they're all like, "Oh, look at this man." He goes, "That is not a man." What does he say?
No.
Guy? Dude.
They call him a dude. You're the dude.
You're a dude. That
This
is a man.
Yeah.
Look at his muscles. Drax is like admiring him.
Yeah.
He's like, I have muscles. I'm going to get a Bowflex. I'm going to do it. I'm going to commit.
I'm surprised he knows what a Bowflex is.
Oh, he's from Earth. Oh, I guess he's not really, though.
Not long enough to know what a Bowflex is.
True.
But
maybe he checks in on Earth every once in a while.
That's whatever. I'm sure he can get, like, cable.
But I just thought that was super funny. And then, yeah, I like that Rocket's first chance to just go do something other than hang out with them.
Yeah.
He's like, peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of Rocket's character. Like, he thinks he's all big and bad and doesn't care about anybody until people start getting hurt.
Yeah. Well, he did that in Guardians 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go with them.
Yep.
Because
but then he eventually comes back to help. You know? Same thing here. It's like he didn't go with them, but at the end you can clearly see he's distraught. You know what I mean? He's like, fuck. Like, maybe I messed up, you know?
Yeah.
Which realistically, and I said this to you a few days ago when we were bowling, like Thor, Rocket, and Groot do not get enough credit in this movie because they're the only people in the entire movie that come remotely close to stopping Thanos.
Yeah.
Besides the people on Titan, but I think that was always just going to be a shit show. They almost
Strange knew.
They almost
get
the glove off, but I don't know if that would have stopped Thanos. I'm just not sure.
Like, we don't know what they would have done.
Exactly.
So, it's a bunch of ifs.
What if they took it off and it immediately just went right back to his hand because, you know, he has the reality gem and he just stopped? I don't know. I mean, you never know. But Thor literally puts Thanos on the edge of death.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, he's pretty messed up from it, so.
Yeah. So, Thor doesn't get enough credit. Like, he also saved the day because everybody's dying, getting messed up by these.
Messed up in Wakanda,
and he just shows up and is like, time to wreck shit. But
then we got the great scene of spawned a lot of memes of Drax being invisible.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, because now that Gamora knows the stakes and that Thanos is here and is doing what he's supposed to be, or what he's been wanting to do for the last few decades, she tells Star-Lord to kill her.
Yeah. Which is a very hard decision to do.
Yeah, I was like, why don't you just kill yourself? You ever thought about that one?
Yeah, right?
Like, why you got to put it on your boyfriend to make you kill?
Now they have to live with the death of a loved one.
And I'm sorry. It's hard enough just to kill someone that you like, right? Like, if you asked me to, I'd be like, I don't know if I could go
kill yourself,
like, if your significant other, you know what I mean? I'm like, sheesh.
Yeah.
But yeah, she says yes, and then Thanos is sitting there eating some garg nuts or whatever they're called. What are they called?
You mean Drax? You said Thanos.
Oh, yeah, Thanos. Imagine Thanos just sitting in the corner like, good luck trying to kill her. You ever heard of a bubble gun? just imagine. Because you know he's so much bigger.
Yeah.
Imagine him just hunched over in the corner.
Well, it's funny, like later when he was in his ship and he's sitting there and he's sitting on the step and he just looks kind of awkward sitting because he's so big. When he takes Gamora back to his ship and then it's his throne there and those stairs and he's sitting on the stairs, but he's so big his knees are high.
Or when he hands her the bowl of soup.
Yeah.
And it looks like a cup, like a little itty bitty cup, and he's like, and then it gets in Gamora's hand and she's like, it's like big. Funny. Reminds me of Elf. Remember Elf?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Where do we go after that? So they figure out what they're doing. Rocket and Groot and Thor fuck off, and the Avengers are gonna go, or the Guardians are gonna go to nowhere to try to get the gem from
the Collector.
Wow,
what's it called? Go
to Nivenablir.
Yeah.
Never
something
the star, the
dwarf,
dying star,
dwarf planet star, whatever. And next,
the undying star, isn't it?
Basically, they know
the dwarven forge.
There you go.
Also, the forge that made Mjolnir and the gauntlet, as we learn.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it goes to Wanda next. Vision and Wanda.
Yeah, in Germany, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know where they're at. I think they're in Berlin, aren't they?
They're
still.
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
By far, the first 5 minutes of this scene are my least favorite minutes of the entire movie.
Yeah,
they're boring. And let me say, I listen. I love this movie. I think it's great. I'll watch it 1,000 times. But there are problems with this movie. Okay, there are plot holes. There are stuff like that, and it shouldn't be regarded as like this perfect movie. But it is everything that it promises to deliver. Now, there is a scene where if it was in any other movie, I would rip it to shreds, and I'm about to rip it to shreds right now. You remember when they're sitting there, and
the
Vision is trying to express his feelings?
Yeah.
Okay? You are a robot that literally has access to any part of information ever, okay?
Well,
you could go watch The Notebook 30,000 times and know how to be a good swagger man.
In Age of Ultron, the second he gets birthed, he just like downloads all of human history.
Exactly, and he's like, and he's immediately, what do you call it? Very articulate, very well spoken. You know what I mean? Like he knows exactly what he wants to say, and then I guess it's because he's in love, but he gets there and he goes, you know, I'm just gonna say it for myself, okay? I'm just gonna say it for myself. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing right now? Like, people are dying. Thanos is around, and we're watching Vision stutter on his own words, trying to tell Wanda, who, by the way, they've been banging, they've been doing something, right? Like, they clearly love each other. Like, does he have to stand there and go, I'm just gonna say it for myself. I want you to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so annoying. Just, I don't know. The only way I can retcon that is just drop that whole scene and just go straight to the kebab shop, right? Where they see this shit going down. Just straight into that. So you can see they're having fun. Maybe they're laughing. They're loving each other. Maybe, you know, he puts his arm around Wanda. You're like, oh, they're getting smitten. You know what I mean? They're liking each other. Instead, we got this weird, like, throw it in your face. They're trying to love each other. You know, it's like, ugh. But other than that, and then Vision, right, who in Age of Ultron was solidified as a badass threat to anyone bad. Like, he will blast a hole right through your head with his, is immediately, I mean, within seconds of being on screen in a fighting manner, immediately taken down to not good Vision.
Literally, he was the biggest threat on Team Iron Man in Civil War. Exactly. Like, it took him having to stop fighting for it to be fair almost. Because he paralyzed Rhodey.
Exactly. So. And in this movie, they stab him right through the back, which apparently has the power to stop his, you know?
Yeah.
And I get that's
he said he couldn't phase because of it.
That's cool and all, but it's just like, we didn't get to see Vision be cool at all during the entire movie. Like, if you want to see Vision being cool, you have to go to Age of Ultron, and that's it. And you get 5 seconds of it. Yeah. You know? Every single movie from there, he's just been eradicated. And then you get to see Wanda save his ass 4 or 5 times. Yeah. And then the cool part starts. Cap shows up.
Cap, Black Widow, and Falcon.
I have to pee. Okay, I don't have to pee anymore. So that's gonna be like, I have to pee, I don't have to pee anymore. Like, it's gonna be seconds apart. What's it called? So how do you like Cap's look?
I love it.
It's
the
so
nomad
much
look.
It's so much better. Just never go back.
I guess he does.
He does go back, doesn't he?
In the trailers, he's shaved.
It's fine.
That's fine.
He shaved?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
the beard, man.
He should have just put on the Cap suit, just minus the helmet.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. Because, like, his beard, I think he won. I think he's really high up on the beard list that we made, isn't he?
Yeah, he won it. Yeah, he won it on our end of year awards.
It's so good. It's so good. And it's like, I love how he shows up as well. You know what I mean? Because he immediately just catches the spear. He's like, hey, I'm pretty badass. You should watch out. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Pretty dope. You get that?
He's using my legs as ladders.
Buddy, what?
Not sturdy enough.
Okay.
Try to go through me, you'll get trapped.
And then let's see. So it's just the three, right? Pretty sure. It's
Yes.
just Cap, Scarlett
Black
Johansson,
Widow,
Black
and
Widow, and not
Falcon.
Rhodey. Falcon.
Falcon.
Yeah.
It's just them three. Because there's no Winter Soldier or Bucky or Hawkeye.
And Black Widow kills. Is it Black Widow or is it who kills the guy?
He doesn't die.
Yeah, he does.
No, he done?
Yes, he does.
No, because remember he's the one that beats up Shuri and gets Vision out of the lab in Wakanda.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
I thought when Scarlett Johansson and
No, he gets hurt. Vision.
Yeah.
No.
Somebody stabs him.
Someone stabs him.
And it hurts him.
And he can't. Proxima Midnight's like, get up. He says, I can't.
Yeah.
And then they get beamed up.
See, I thought he died because later when Proxima Midnight comes back during the fight scene in Wakanda.
He does die in Wakanda. He doesn't die there in the train station.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought she was like, you'll pay for that. Like, I can't remember. Okay.
Because
never mind. That's my bad.
Because Scarlett Johansson says, where's your friend? And then Proxima Midnight says, well, he'll return his blood for yours or something like that.
See, that's why I thought he had died.
Yeah.
Because she's like, where's your friend? And she's basically like, well, he's not here because he's dead. Okay. All right. Jeez. God, I'm going to be dead here in a minute too. Okay. Jeez.
Yeah.
Gosh. Because we're the red shirts. We're supposed to die.
Yeah.
But no, that's a really good fight scene at that point. When those three fight her. And I think that's interesting that they're so powerful that it takes like three well-established Avengers / characters in the universe to take them down. You know. All right, back to the movie.
So we'll just go to I think Titans next. The start of no, actually it's nowhere.
Goes back to nowhere and then the never something. The Dying Star.
The Dying Star.
Okay. So yeah, it goes to nowhere and we get to see I think this is the true like when you get to see that Thanos is not just powerful, like he's also smart, right?
Yeah.
He's also very cunning. He's got everybody's what do you call it? In games figured out.
He's always a step ahead.
Yes. He knows what everybody wants. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he set up this very elaborate ruse to
Yes.
trick them.
He did. And I also love that the Collector is just kind of
Bravo!
he goes, magnificent, magnificent.
Yeah, that was funny. That's a good touch.
It's a good touch. It was a little much, but so is the Collector, right? So
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense. Like, what kind of asshole would be like, "Yay, the whole universe is dying," but the Collector is a very interesting cat. So, but yeah, so he, I love how he, what would you call it? Blocks and springs Mantis and
very creative.
I also love them like it's a good tie back to one of the best memes of all time, but later when they're trying to make a plan on Titan where Chris comes up with a plan, right? And he's telling them what to do and they just immediately walk past and like they don't care what he's saying. And it's a great tie back to later in the movie where he's like they don't really follow plans.
Not winging it is not what they do.
Yeah, not what they do. So it's a good connection there, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Not just a random thing. Like
they don't even listen to Quill. And
exactly. They don't even listen
you're
to
expecting to listen to Iron Man.
They don't even listen to who they've crowned their captain of their ship, right? So they ain't listening to some random dude. So, that scene's not really fighty, right? You don't get to see any fight. It's like I said, it's more cunning, and you get to see these emotional beats between this knife that Thanos has given Gamora, and she tries to kill him with it, and you think she kills him with it, and she lets him so that she can see her emotions towards it, and then he comes back. You know what I mean? I think that plays into the Soul Stone a lot. I think there's a lot there because she truly does have just a little bit of feelings for Thanos, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that she showed that made it so that he knew that was truly who he would have to give up, you know, because no one else, he doesn't love anybody else like he loves Gamora.
Except in the comics, death.
Wow. What a lovely life you live there, Thanos. God. Brutal.
Well, he was always trying to court death.
Sure.
That was the thing. And even they said that in the Avengers post-credit. It said, Earth is stronger than we thought. Trying to attack them would be courting death. And then he turns all like horny and stuff. So it's back when he was real purpley.
Oh, man. Remember how purple he used to be?
And it wasn't Josh Brolin yet. So it was just like, it wasn't as crisp and clean as it is now. So it's kind of like
some dude. Yeah. So, what's it called? So right there, he already has the reality stone, which is what they think they're preventing him from getting, because he's holding the collector, like trying to get it from him.
Yeah.
That's the ruse he plays, and then he changes nowhere back to what it really is, and it's just all fire and chaos.
Yeah.
My question is the reality stone. If let's say there's a hole in the floor. Okay. So, like, a place is burned out. There's this giant gap in the floor.
Mm-hmm. I know where you're going with
If
this.
you walk on that and it's not really real, do you just fall through the floor? Or is it that he put in a reality that's just a little bit tangible but isn't actually true?
Okay, so because Thanos, using the reality stone, made a clone of him, which got killed, which is a physical thing there, which Gamora got to.
Okay.
So I think so.
So even though there's giant pieces of nowhere missing, they could still...
And he held the gun.
It's still structurally there because he kind of cloned it and made it something.
And the bubble gun, because he was holding it, I guess. Okay.
So it basically just does...
I wonder if it's a lot of, like, you have to concentrate or, like, control it the whole time or something.
Yeah, I was thinking that, too. I wonder if it's just, like, a thing that you can just, like, hit it once and it's done. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's a good question.
Or you just, like, every time you're about to... Like, there's a pothole, or was anyway, in your drive, like, your drive here. If, like, every time he went over it, he would have to... Zzz,
like, make sure that point. Yeah. But, yeah, so you get to see... not Tony. Gamora ask Star-Lord to kill her, and he takes way too long, but I understand why.
Oh yeah, I do too.
And then obviously,
it's a fake.
It's a fake.
Good,
yeah.
Yep.
And that's one problem I have with this. Like, I knew he wasn't gonna, you know what I mean? No. And I think it's a good moment because you get to see.
Like, she does try to kill herself.
Does she?
And he turns the knife into bubbles.
Oh, you're right. Good job, Gamora. I'm proud of you.
She does.
I'm proud of you, Gamora.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she, like, doesn't he hold her hand like this, and then she drops it and catches it and tries to stab herself? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Good job, Gamora. I'm proud of you. Thanks for not putting that shit on.
About that.
Thank you for not putting that shit on Chris Pratt. What's happening outside the... Lovely.
Well, someone's parked in your spot, putting something at your door, it looks like.
Lovely. It's Amazon Prime.
No. He's wearing a construction vest, and he's in a Toyota or something. It's like a ream of paper. You ordering paper? Oh. That's weird, because it's not a Prime truck. It's just some regular dude.
Oh. I need to go get that.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. Take 3.
Oh, man. Oh, right. So after the nowhere scene, he takes Gamora back to his ship, which, holy shit, that ship is huge.
Yeah, well, I think probably lives there.
I mean, that throne room is huge. He also gives her the little itty-bitty tiny bowl of soup,
Yep.
Which is actually a big bowl of soup. And then we learn that, help me? Nebula is aboard the ship and is being pulled apart.
Well, it's cool because they walk into the room and it's just her floating.
Yeah.
Then it turns and she's
all
elongated.
Yeah, she's all stretched out.
Mm-hmm. I was like, oof.
Yeah, it looked painful.
Yeah.
But can she feel pain? She's a robot, so like.
Obviously, she did. She was screaming. So.
Yeah, no, I'm just messing.
I'm sure she saw some human.
Yep.
Probably not.
Does that mean she can get dusted? We had this conversation. Okay.
I think it's Cyborg.
True.
Because Rocket as well, but we don't know.
Who knows? Rocket didn't get dusted.
That's what I said.
Maybe that's a
cyborgs.
Maybe that's a point.
We don't know about Vision.
Needed a Vision. Well, he got his head ripped open.
Yeah.
So basically, Thanos uses Nebula to get Gamora to tell him where the stone is. That's basically what this scene's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Then Thanos and Gamora fuck off and go to another place. Vormir. And we get to see the return
Red Skull.
Of Red Skull, which, by the way, was like...
Yeah. Because you really liked him.
What do you mean?
You really liked Red Skull.
I
feel like you did back in the day.
He was cool. I thought his what do you call it? His some of the stuff he says in the movie doesn't make a lot of sense. You know.
In this one?
No.
Or Captain America.
Captain America. But dude, he's a really cool character. He's really funky looking. Like he has a good aesthetic, and his character in the comics is so much more interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like him and the guy from Civil War.
Baron
Zemo. They work really well together. Like they're an interesting duo, right? So I was kind of hoping to see more of that. But it was just a really cool connection to like the second movie, right? And you never really see him die. He gets teleported, and you think he dies, right? Because he like gets launched. But I thought it was really interesting that he's now just like this larger than life character that knows everything, and he's like more down to earth now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he like realized like, oh shit, maybe I was crazy on Earth, and now he knows all about the stones, and he knows he's like basically the gatekeeper to the Soul Stone, which I just thought was super cool, and like I never would have thought of in a million years.
Yeah, because that was like 7 years later. They just reused him because everyone's like, what happened to him?
Exactly.
Like,
and it almost makes me think they had an idea to use him when they sent him up. You know, they're like, they didn't know what yet, because there's no way they could have known that they were going to use Vormir in 7 years in a Thanos-driven movie, right?
Right.
But I think it's super interesting that they left that open for this. And just the reveal of his character is so cool. Like, he's floating and shit. Like,
yeah.
What is up with him?
Yeah.
I just want to know more about him, and I love when they do stuff like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it allows you to theory craft and to
yeah,
just have
which
these
is great.
amazing images in your head of like things that have gone on. So I just thought that was a really cool inclusion.
Yeah.
So then what happens?
Because I'm pretty sure there's a thing in between because Thanos tells Gamora to show him where it is, and then there's something in between.
Oh, so yeah, I was just following that storyline.
Okay, then we'll do that. So they get to Vormir, and then
yep.
For a soul, you have to exchange a soul.
Yeah, so basically Red Skull is explaining what the Soul Stone's all about and how it's different from all the rest of the stones. The rest of the stones
it's almost alive, almost.
Exactly. The rest of the stones contain a power, right? Whereas the Soul Stone is different. It's like a being almost.
Yeah.
And it knows, right? It needs to know you're worthy to contain to withhold the power. And I think no one's had the Soul Stone, right?
I've heard like maybe Odin did before. Like he had them all.
Okay.
But
interesting. But it
that's
seems
why
almost in this universe that the Soul Stone is an unattainable.
Yeah, because it was every time it was mentioned before, it was like, well, the Soul Stone, no one knows where that's at, or
exactly.
Yeah. So this is the first time it's really been explained or talked about more than what is it or where is it.
Yep. And I thought this scene was like perfect because it's confusing.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's harrowing, and it's like you almost go through the same emotions that Gamora goes through. Yeah. Right? So you almost feel as a Gamora the whole time, where you're like, okay, where the hell are we? What is this? And then you see Soul, and you're like, okay, so the Soul Stone needs a sacrifice. And then when Gamora realizes that, she starts laughing. And you're like, oh, what is he going to sacrifice? He doesn't love anything. And you're like, oh, this is good. And then you're like, wait a minute. What about that scene earlier where, like, he likes Gamora? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He clearly, like, tries to feed her because he likes her and is like, you know?
Yep.
Wouldn't let her kill herself. All this stuff, right? You're like, oh, shit. I think I know what's happening.
Yeah.
And then she figures it out. And then together, we go through this emotional roller coaster to, like, oh, shit.
And she gets yeeted.
She does. She gets yeeted so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, there goes Gamora. I think she's dead. I think she's full dead. I don't think you can bring her back. But there's probably Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and she's probably already confirmed for it. So she's probably.
I'm pretty sure she's. I think she might be in Endgame.
Yay! Oh,
Spoilers.
I wish she was just dead, dude. I just want some people to just be dead.
We'll talk about that.
Just to have stakes, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, super interesting. He like respawns.
Yeah, with the stone.
With the stone.
Respawns.
He does. He just kind of gets teleported.
I never like thought about it that way, but yeah, he does like respawn.
He does. He's just like, yeah. So, who knows what happened to Red Skull? Yep. So now he is on his way. He is one stone away. Right?
2. He doesn't have time stone yet.
What's the other one?
The mind.
Oh, duh. Sorry. He's 2 stones away.
Yeah, so after that he goes to Titan, where he meets the rest of the Avengers. Which first we have the Guardians meet the 3 Avengers. Spider-Man, Iron Man, Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So they show up, and they start fighting each other, which is kind of funny.
Where's Gamora? Who's Gamora? Why is Gamora? Drax.
Why is Gamora?
Yeah.
And he's like, you shoot your guy, I'll shoot my guy.
Yeah.
I can handle it, Quill.
No, we can't.
No, you can't. Yeah, but I thought that was funny, and I like how.
Well, they're trying to plan for Thanos coming there because they know he's going to be there since.
We'll
Strange.
talk about that in a second. I like how they fight each other because, like, obviously the Guardians are high strung because you know what I mean?
Gamora's gone.
They're one of the only people to have faced Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
But besides Thor, really the only person that's Thor and Hulk. The only 2 people that are still alive that have faced Thanos are Thor and Hulk and the Guardians at this point, right? So they just show up on Titan and they immediately think these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
You know, they think they're in with Thanos. They know about the children of Thanos. They don't know what they look like or anything like that. You know, so I like that they just immediately fight them because if they had just shown up, be like, hey, what are you guys? You know what I mean? I'd be like, okay. So yeah, it was interesting. Yeah. And then they do one of the best scenes of all time,
trying to plan.
Which, by the way, is the last funny scene you get to see in the entire movie before shit goes down.
Well, there is the when Thor arrives on Wakanda, he's got one kind of funny scene. He's like, "I see you copy my beard."
True.
And then he's like,
and there is the,
"This is my friend Tree. I am Groot." And
I am
like,
Steve Rogers.
I am Steve Rogers.
Yeah, that part's funny. I'll
funny.
give you that. But this is the last like elongated joke, I would say.
Well, that was just Thor being Thor. It's not like a out of their way funny bit.
I see you've copied my beard. So good. Man, this movie's so good. Okay, so they do this scene where obviously Tony tries to take the lead and tell everybody what to do.
Yeah.
To try to plan, right? And there's just shit happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Fucking Mantis is bouncing around like a maniac.
Yeah, because the gravity's off.
Yeah. So
well,
she's
see,
just like
Iron Man,
around.
he's never been the one to make a plan.
Yeah.
It's always been Cap.
Yep.
So in that regard, he kind of earns respect or like gains respect for Cap.
Yep.
Because Cap has to deal with this all the time.
Exactly.
No matter like who it is, if it's Avengers or when he was in the army and stuff like that.
Yep.
And he's just got like this lifeless stare.
Yeah.
Every time they say something.
Every single time something goes wrong, and someone talks over top of him or something like that,
He just looks dead inside. Wake me up inside.
My favorite is what is it? When she's bouncing around and you can just see Peter just like, what is going on?
Yeah, Peter. The whole time.
And then Peter Parker, I meant, but Peter Quill is like, yo, these guys they don't do plans.
Yeah.
So
what exactly is it that they do? He's like, take.
Oh yeah, she does.
Kick names and take ass.
What does Drax say after that?
He like holds his belt.
Yeah.
And says, "That's right."
That's right. Yeah, totally.
Then there's another dead inside look from Tony.
Yep. He's like, fuck this, dude. and then Mantis is like, hey, does your friend always do that over there? And we turn and we get to see.
Yeah, he's freaking out.
He's going crazy. And so I wanted to ask you something about that. Do you think he truly saw one outcome?
That they won?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Or
I wonder if he saw them all.
Or do you think he saw one outcome that he deemed as good enough? And maybe we don't get the good enough.
I would have to hear how he worded everything again.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because he says, how many do we win?
Mm-hmm.
He says, one.
Yeah.
Do you think...
Well,
do you think
you gotta
by chance...
You got to define what winning is.
Exactly. Do you think by chance Doctor Strange tried to found one path where everybody lived, but he doesn't want anybody to know that yet, right? So he's like, that's the one I think we're going to try to take, but things go mayhem, and a lot of people die, and he's like, oh.
I think since... Because he was always, before this, up to this point really, he was, I'll gladly sacrifice y'all for the time stone.
Exactly.
Like,
and then he gives up the time. Yeah, he doesn't give it, like, he's carrying it with him because they're like, why don't you just
put it down a garbage disposal, Tony said.
Yeah, and he's like, no, that's
yeah.
I'm here to protect the stone.
I took an oath to protect it.
And I don't care about you guys, you know?
Yeah.
And then he immediately gives up the stone because Thanos shows up, and there's one of the best fight scenes in the entire movie with all the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy working together, and they get that close to getting the thing off. And,
but again, who knows? It's a whole thing of if is a fifth, we'd all be drunk. That's what it is.
What? Oh. By the way, people like to talk shit about how Peter Quill shoots
he's pistol whipping him.
Yeah, he's like beating him, right? Or it looks like he wants to kill him or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes. If you knew that he just murdered your girlfriend to get a soul stone and that she might be gone forever because of the way the stone works, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might still be true. She might be trapped in there. She might, dude, you would freak the fuck out. You would freak out.
Yeah.
Anybody in their right mind would freak out.
Well, it's like in the end of 7, we said, like, we would, without hesitation, kill Kevin Spacey.
Oh, absolutely. I'd go to jail for years for that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you there to live for anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's, yeah.
Like, how are you going to, especially for Quill, it's like, that's the one thing that kind of kept him from going over the deep end, is that the people around him that he loved so much actually loved him, like Mary Poppins.
Yes.
The guy
Mary Poppins.
The guy that he thought, resented, he actually likes him. He's like, I may not be a perfect father, but I'm a better daddy. I'm your daddy. You know what I mean?
Maybe your father.
Better
than your daddy.
It's like, I think Gamora is one of the only reasons he made it to where he is as a human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not falling down the wrong path. And now that he knows that that's gone,
yeah,
yes, you would freak out. Maybe not the most opportune time to do it, but who's to say Thanos would have just overcome Mantis's? Because she was freaking out anyway. She was like, I can't hold much longer.
Yeah, because he's very strong. So
he feels so much sorrow. What does she say?
Anguish.
He's in agony.
He's in mourning.
Yeah.
What does this monster have to mourn?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get that, and then Thanos basically beats them all up, and then him and Tony have a really good moment.
So good.
Mm-hmm. And all that for a drop of blood. All this, like, all the shit that they hit Thanos with, and it's literally just a cut on his cheek.
And there's actually a really I've watched this movie about 4 or 5 times since it's come out.
It's very rewatchable.
It's so easy. Just slap it on while you're playing video games. It's just like, yeah. But I've noticed something about that fight scene with Tony is he knows everybody else is down for the count, right? And so he's trying his best. And there's a moment where his new suit ability can like regrow,
Nanotech.
right? And there's a what?
Nanotech.
Exactly. There's a moment where Thanos is beating him down, and he really needs to get like this part. I'm like showing my chest, and like this part covered back up, right? And instead, he spawns like 2 huge guns out of his hands, which take nanotech because you can see it. It slows down the growth of the suit around his body, and that leaves him exposed to be stabbed by Thanos. It's like, I think you can tell Tony is just like all he can think of is, I can't lose this one. You know what I mean? He's like, I will do anything. I forget protecting myself. I'll go out just trying to stop this one dude. You know? And I think that's why he has so much emotion at the end of this movie, is because not only did he try his darndest just to get a drop of blood out of the guy, he also got killed, or would have been killed if it wasn't for Doctor Strange. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he lost everybody that he was trying to protect in the first place. So literally nothing he did turned out, and he's the one
He also
alive.
doesn't know who else is, like, Pepper, for instance. He didn't know if Pepper's alive.
Yeah. It's honestly, like, it's kind of sad. Like, it's really sad.
And which is even more sad is we knew that was going to happen. That scene of him after Spider-Man gets dusted is in the trailers. Because he's sitting down and he turns and he, like, wipes his hands.
Yeah.
That was in the trailers, and we're like, what is that?
He has, like, Peter dust on his hands. And he's like, what the? And he puts it, he's like, oh, no. Yeah. You could just tell how much he's like, man, I was not ready for this. You know? It's like, the man has spent his whole life, almost, ever since the first Avengers, preparing, like 10 years preparing for the fight. You know what I mean? He knew something was coming, and he just got clobbered. I mean, he didn't do a valiant effort. He got clobbered. He didn't even come close.
Yeah.
And he had so many tools at his disposal that he didn't have years before. You know, as the best variation of a suit couldn't even help him.
Yeah.
I mean,
like this is prime Iron Man. You know, suit wise anyway.
And this is like prime Tony learning that Tony is not perfect. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that he cannot solve everything. Yeah. I just thought that was really interesting. They do a really good job showing it, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought the whole nanotech thing, it may not be the best suit aesthetically or design or really, what do you call it? Like, possibly. But I think it does a good job of showing, if you look close enough, that Tony is, like, sacrificing himself to try to stop Thanos, and it's just not working.
Everything but the kitchen sink is what he was basically throwing at him.
Dude, he was throwing everything. Mm-hmm. And he's like, he is trying. Like, this is the fight. Like, this is what I've trained for. Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
So Doctor Strange saves him for some odd reason. We don't really know why.
He said it was the only way, which we'll find out. And then he says, we're in the end game now. Roll credits.
For the next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we jump to Wakanda.
Yeah, so then Thanos is just like, peace.
Yep.
I love the teleport thing. We just
Yeah. So we get to that, and they're trying to deal with Vision. Trying to get it out of his head
Yeah, so
first.
basically the whole story with Vision is, I guess we should have mentioned this earlier, but I think it's one of the shittiest plot points in the entire movie, is that Cap is like, we don't trade lives, because he wants to save the Vision, which is fair, and that's up Cap's alley, okay? But then they get to Wakanda, and the Force is clearly there. Like, the Force has arrived, okay? There's ships dropping in. What's it called? They're all converging on this one character, okay?
Yeah.
So in everyone's mind, they should go, that's probably the last stone. I'm going to go ahead and take a wild guess. And we probably need to get him taken care of. And they wait, and Shuri is, like, not even close to finishing, which she's trying to disconnect the stone from Vision so that he can live on.
Yeah.
And the stone can be destroyed. And, it just doesn't work.
Nope.
And we'll get into the scene, like the fight scenes, but just kind of like it's kind of a MacGuffin, a little bit.
What is?
Vision.
Oh.
It's kind of what brings everybody together, because they're all trying to protect this one stone.
Well, it's the last one, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it drives the plot a little bit. It's not that bad. It's not a glaring, like, you know what I mean, version of one, but it's still kind of annoying that the reason Thanos gets it is because they wait so long to destroy it. Which we know now Thanos would have gotten it anyway, because he just would have gone back in time to before they destroyed it, no matter how long ago that was.
I wonder if it's... Do you have to, like, be there to change it, do you think?
No.
You don't?
I don't think so. I mean, the Eye of Agamotto can, like, very specific and very not specific. Like
I was wondering because like how can you change something you don't know what happened if you weren't there?
Well, how can you look at a million different possibilities if they have?
Because he jumped forward.
Okay.
And who knows? Maybe he was just talking about just there on Titan. You know what I'm saying? He's not talking about the whole.
What if that was what it was?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's them on Titan there stopping him again the gauntlet because that was their thing. They wanted to get the gauntlet.
Then he wouldn't have said that. This is the end game now.
Yeah. So
he would have been like, "No, we're all fucked. Bye."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know, but and there's this okay, well, huge fight scene in Wakanda.
Yep.
I love that Thanos's whatever they are minions are just killing themselves.
They're Chitauri.
Yeah, the Chitauri. They don't even care, dude. They're just running straight into the.
Well, they're killing themselves trying to get through the force field.
Yeah, and so good, just so good. That whole scene, you get to see
Hulkbuster.
You get to see Hulkbuster again. You get to see Black Panther and Captain America and the Winter Soldier and Rocket and what's it called? But before all that, we get like everybody fighting, just doing their things, punching minions, and then
yeah.
and then we get to go back to Thor, and Thor is constructing the new Stormbreaker.
Yes.
And so they get there and they learn that the dwarf
Stars dead.
Peter Dinklage, aka Tyrion Lannister, has created not only Mjolnir, we knew that, but he also made the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yep.
And that part's sad. He's like, he said he would spare us.
Yeah, he killed everyone but me and took my hands.
Yeah, so bad.
Yeah.
But and then Groot sacrifices his arm.
Yeah, it just
grows back, but
which is still because he's done nothing the whole time.
Exactly.
And then he realizes that
Thor's dying.
Yeah, Thor's dying, and he needs a hammer.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It makes it cooler because Groot's part of that forever.
Exactly. Yep. And I love how they didn't change it too. Like it's still the wood handle in the new. Like if they would made it something different, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I would understand it because if it's still part of Groot, maybe it dusted with it. Imagine Thor's just holding two parts. It'd be funny, but no, it's cool. It can control the Bifrost, which is sick. So he just
summoned the Bifrost in theory.
In theory, dude, his voice is so deep.
Yeah, it is.
It's like unnaturally, and I also love how they made a real life midget
A giant.
That's so funny to me. But yeah. So he teleports down to Wakanda because he knows that's where Thanos is going to be. He's not there yet.
Nope.
And he goes, "Bring me Thanos!"
Yeah. Yeah.
And then starts wrecking shop. Holy crap.
Oh, I mean, he saves the day.
So cool.
Yeah. So he saves everyone there, and then he basically takes out all the army. They're kind of retreating.
Pretty much. He's pretty much just flying through the ships.
Yeah, he's just whipping the Stormbreaker through them and stuff.
Yep. And then everything gets...
then, like, all the army's gone. And then, like, the wind changes.
Yeah, everything gets quiet.
It gets quiet. It gets like clouds.
Yep.
Like cover the sun, and then it just gets. You can hear the wind. And then everyone's like, "That's him."
And Cap's like, "We got a Thanos problem," or what does he say? "We got a Vision problem," because Vision gets kicked out of the lab, and so he's like, "Guys, we got a Vision problem. We need to converge."
Mm-hmm.
So
converge
everybody's coming together at this treetop oasis.
Yep.
And shit goes down.
Yeah. Well, it's like their final stand against him.
Yeah.
And he's like.
And we just get to see Thanos just at full.
He just walks through them.
What's it called? The Hulkbuster tries to come near him. Nothing.
I'm curious of how he got out of that predicament.
That's entirely true.
He's phased into a rock.
He's in it. I guess the rocks are around him, but like, wouldn't that just crush his like whole body?
Yeah, because the rock wouldn't move.
I don't know, dude. Not great.
Yeah.
But
like in the ground, I can understand or something.
Who else attacks him?
All of them.
I mean, they all go after him and they all get messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Black Panther gets his powers used against him.
Yeah, he gets pounded.
Well, yeah, and he just like deflects the kinetic energy thing
right
back at him. So, which is kind of cool because I'm tired of that.
Yeah.
And then the one person that actually does something to slow him down is one Wanda, who, by the way, is now deciding that it's time to destroy the stone.
Mm-hmm.
A little late there. And so,
and then Cap stops him from closing the glove, which is the thing.
Cap gets punched and just like poof, catches it. And we saw this in the trailers, which I really wish they hadn't put it in the trailers. But the fact that he punches and then like Thanos is like, the hell? I think it's a good foreshadowing to Endgame, where it's like Thanos is gonna see him and be like, "Oh shit, not the one that can actually do stuff."
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, because we've always had these hints of Captain America being like this super powerful guy. Like he almost lifted Mjolnir in Age of Ultron, and now he's like stopping Thanos, and they're like, "Oh god, this dude's about to go Super Saiyan," you know?
Oh, I think stuff's about to get crazy, for sure. Yeah. And I think Captain America is going to be the best Cap we've ever seen. Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just at full Cap. And I want the circular shield back. I cannot tell you how satisfying it is.
He gets the very...
That's good. I'm glad.
Like one of the first ones because he's got the strap on.
The shields were cool, especially when he's like, and get this man a shield. That's cool.
It's not a shield.
No, they're little wrist gauntlets. That's what they are. But... Yeah. Nothing is more satisfying than seeing Cap just like ring the damn shield off about 10 people. Just, whoosh, you know what I mean? Yep. Oh, it's so good. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So Thanos walks up, gets the last stone, rips it right out of Vision's head after they destroy it. Yep. Goes back in time, rips it out his damn head. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that whole time thing really scares me because it's like, how do you do anything now?
Well, that's what I think. Because they could just be like, he can go whenever or wherever with the time stone, change something that happened thousands of years ago that he didn't witness.
Yeah.
Like if you're... I feel like you need to be present to change something.
So
because that's all we've ever seen in the movies with the time stone.
Okay. Let's come back to this. Let's clear up since we're like right at the end. Because this movie ends very abruptly, by the way.
Yeah.
For all the right reasons. Oh, yeah. Pure silence. And it's so sad because they all know they've lost, right? Mm-hmm. And so they're constantly running up. Oh, hold on. Thor throws his hammer, and it goes right through.
Well, he's shooting like
the power.
And
it
right
just
at
goes
it. And
right through it and just straight into his chest.
Yeah. Pierces. No, he doesn't wear armor at this point. But
Thor gets a little cocky and decides to try to.
I told you would pay for that.
Yeah, and tries to. It starts. Should have gone for the head. Snap. Bang.
And it's just a bright light shows Thanos with baby Gamora and like, what did it cost? Everything.
Yep.
Because now he's like.
I think he's back on Titan.
No, he goes to a farm.
Isn't that on Titan?
Mm-mm. Titan's a dead planet.
I understand that, but he has all the powers of the stone, or all the powers of the gauntlet. So
no, it's on a different planet.
Okay, I think it's Titan. I'm probably wrong.
We'll find out.
He's at some random place, like what?
Yeah, it's his farm. It's like it looks like a Vietnamese farm.
It does, yeah. It looks like
it's got the layers, rice fields.
Yeah. It's like what I imagine is his version of peace, like what he thinks is peaceful, right? Now he's done, and you get to see, yeah. He's got his armor hung up.
Scarecrow Thanos.
Good to go. But and then back on Earth, everyone's like, "Oh shit."
Well, do you know what the last words of the movie were? But not including the end credits.
What?
It was Cap saying, "Oh God."
Really?
Mm-hmm. Last words was, "Oh God."
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I remember very fondly like it snaps back, and Cap is standing there, right? And who do you get to see dusted first? Isn't it
Bucky?
Isn't it Winter Soldier?
It's Bucky from Cap's point of view.
Yeah.
Because he's like, what just happened? And he looks, and Bucky's like, Steve?
Yeah, he's falling apart. Mm-hmm. And then Black Panther walks up and he goes, "Come on, this is no place to die," you know? And then she just fades, or he just fades away, and she's like, "What the
Yeah.
what?" And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Because I thought it was her dying at first.
Yeah, me too.
So I was like, they're not gonna kill her.
Well, especially because he's going to help her, right? So I was expecting him to grab her hand and start to pull her up, and then she just fades.
Yeah.
And instead, it's him, and I was like, "Oh, excuse me, what?"
Right.
What? And I remember when we watched it, I immediately looked over at you like, he was introduced a movie ago.
A couple months ago. Well, he was introduced in Civil War, to be fair.
Very true. He was fleshed out a movie ago.
There you go. And then next is Falcon. He's getting Rhodey's trying to find him.
Yeah, Rhodey.
And then Groot with Rocket trying to.
This is where the tears start, by the way.
Yeah.
Because, like, Rocket never shows emotion. So or he doesn't really care, but when he shows emotion, and Groot is just sitting there, just like on the side of a tree, by the way, and he's like, no, not, and you could just tell Rocket's like, can we fucking stop with this? Yeah. He's like, I just got you back. Like, you're just now becoming a normal Groot. You know what I mean? Dude.
Yeah.
So
and then
that's
Scarlet Witch dies.
That's kind of like, yeah, Scarlet Witch dies. And that's kind of like a, what do you call it? A father-son thing. You know? Mm-hmm. Which preludes into the next scene where they go to Titan.
Yeah.
And everybody dies on Titan. If you thought Earth was bad, whoa.
Yeah. So it shows, I'm pretty sure.
It's just all the Guardians first.
I'm trying to think which one came first. It was either Mantis or Drax.
Yeah.
And then Quill.
Yeah.
And then Strange.
And the Strange thing is interesting. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because doesn't he say now we're in the end game?
Mm-hmm. And then just faded away.
Yeah.
Like he knew.
He knew it was coming. He knew it was up.
Well, he's seen the future.
And he's one of the, like I said, he's one of the only characters that actually knows what's happening to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he knows what's going on.
And then we get to see the worst.
Yeah, because he senses it before it happens.
Oh.
It's brutal.
It's so bad. It's so like there's so many like. It's just so bad.
Yeah.
I want to go home. I just want to go home.
Yeah.
And it's just, I could just feel that. You know what I mean? He's like a little kid. He's like way out of his depths. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He got on this ship thinking he's like, oh, it's Tony. He'll protect me. You know what I mean? He's always protected me. And now you get to see Tony, who's like, all right, I guess you're here. I'll protect you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're my son figure. And then you just get to see it on Tony's face. He's like, no, nope, no,
yeah.
Don't let this happen. So literally him and Nebula are the only two people left on Titan. Everybody else dies.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and then it cuts back to Wakanda, and then everyone's running over together that are still alive and say, did we just lose? And it's Cap, I'm pretty sure, saying, oh God.
Yeah, isn't Banner like, did we just lose? Or something?
Yeah, because he's in the Hulkbuster, but his head, like the helmet's off.
So bad. It's so like
it's tiny, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Man. And it's just quiet. It reminds me of a quiet place. It's just like there's just no music.
No one's talking, making any noise.
Nothing.
Everyone's just glued to the screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
end credit scene was Sam Jackson.
Oh yeah, you thought it was done. Credits start rolling. Music starts playing. You're like, Jesus, that was rough. And then the credits start, and you're like, oh, we're back in this hellhole that we just left. Yep. And the earth is falling apart. There's planes crashing everywhere. There's people dying left and right.
Yep. Then he calls in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, he sure does. And before him and Maria Hill die.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because he says, mother. Which is a classic Sam Jackson.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
mother.
We'll still score it, but we're gonna skip going through each one because we already know it's a 6 out of 6.
It's a 6. I mean, everything's good about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everything.
I think the only thing that's lacking is the acting, but there's so much good acting that it makes up for the shitty Elizabeth Olsen and some of the other. I mean, it's just good. It's just
a great
really
movie.
Good.
Second favorite of the year.
Best story, I think.
Yeah,
like it leads so good, and one of the best villains. Because, man, it's just like...
The best villain. We decided that.
it's just interesting. Like, he's just so interesting.
Yeah.
Because his ideals are not exactly what we would see as being normal.
Yeah, it's just
but he
how
has
he goes.
sound reasoning.
Yeah, it's just how he goes about carrying out his actions or his philosophy.
And he's crazy, and everybody knows he's crazy, but he's like perfectly content and willing to just be like.
He's always calm and.
Yeah, that's
brooding.
He's not like he reminds me of Zemo a little bit.
Right.
Like, he has the wit of Zemo, where even when he's like ready to die, he's like, I don't care. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm doing me, and good luck stopping me. Pretty nuts.
Yeah. All right, you want to transition right into our list?
Yeah, let's do it because it makes
sense.
It's exactly what we would talk about.
Yeah.
After talking about.
It's basically 5 predictions for Endgame.
Yeah.
Based off.
And what we think's gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go first. I think Thanos.
Well, I have an honorable mention.
Okay.
Because I've mentioned it before, but I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It was the X-Men showing up.
Yeah, true.
Which they've came out and announced that
they're not doing anything.
They're not doing anything with them for a while. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
But
that would have been cool.
Yeah, like because I said, spoiler for later, they show up at a certain person's funeral.
Yeah.
So,
my number 5 is Thanos is going to live.
Okay.
So somehow, some way, this might be a spoiler for Endgame. I don't know.
Oh yeah, potential spoilers. We don't know anything.
We don't know. I don't know.
No
what's
one knows
happening.
anything. To be fair,
if you go back in time, I think that means Thanos is going to be alive, right? And I think I don't know how to explain this, but they go back in time, and I think something happens they do something to prevent Thanos from doing what he does.
Yeah.
So maybe they go save Titan or something like that. So that
they do something.
Instead of it just being a cliche, we beat the villain and we lost some things, they lose some things and are like that's it. We have to go back and we have to change how things happened and how we functioned. You know what I mean? And we have to save Titan.
Yeah.
So that I think Thanos is going to live.
Okay.
Just I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a prediction. I don't.
Right. My next one is it's not about the details of the movie. It's about the movie itself.
Yeah.
And it's going to make the most money a movie has ever made.
I think that's a good prediction.
I think it's already I feel like it already is.
It's it
it's just hasn't got the money.
Office first weekend, which. Like, pretty much the whole weekend sold out. So
I'm almost certain, like, every ticket, every theater is probably sold out for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That whole week, I'm sure.
God, I need to get on there because I want to see it again.
See if it's any tickets available?
Yeah.
Where are yours? In a safe somewhere?
They're in my pocket, in my wallet. Oh, they'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
They're on my account, too, so if I lost them, then they're just on my account.
All right, so that was...
Yeah.
The rest
of
them
number
about
Thor.
The movie. Your number Thor?
My number 4. I don't think the movie has any. Okay, I'm not gonna say the movie. The movie is clearly gonna have something to do with it. I think the way to beat Thanos / save everybody has nothing to do with the quantum realm.
Okay.
I think that's a red herring.
It probably is.
I think that is a red herring that they're throwing out there. Right? Because they sent out that picture a while back when we first started, and they said there's something big in this, and there's the quantum generator sitting there and all this. I think it's a huge red herring. I think the only reason the quantum realm is going to be in this entire thing is to get fucking Ant-Man out, right? Because he's currently stuck in the quantum realm.
Someone gets him out.
Exactly. I think that's all it's going to be. Someone gets him out.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We shall find out.
Because I don't want it. That's why I'm saying this. I don't want it to be the quantum realm.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't want all the people to be dusted to be these little EB guys in the quantum realm. I don't want that. That's not interesting. And I don't think the Russos know that they don't want that either. You know what I mean? Like, people don't want that. We don't want them to be alive in the quantum realm. We want there to be real stakes. You know? So I think the quantum realm has nothing to do except for getting Ant-Man out.
And disclaimer, by the way, we haven't watched really any of the trailers. I know I haven't. You said you haven't.
The last trailer I saw was the one with all the flashbacks. So
like the red and
the
black and white and with the red.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the last I saw too. So,
and that's all I'm gonna see because at this point I'm too close to just go fuck it up.
Yeah. So my number 4, I have Professor Hulk.
Oh, can I just say the one thing that blows my quantum realm thing?
Okay.
Is that scene with Cap and Ant-Man when he jumps off the lever? That scene looks interesting. It doesn't look naturally sized.
He shrink. He jumps off a pencil.
Exactly. But that could just be Ant-Man being Ant-Man, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is.
But that scene, that whole environment, atmosphere, just looks different.
Like, I don't know for sure, but I think that's Avengers headquarters.
Yeah, but I think it's shrunk down Avengers headquarters. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody shrunk down. That's why I'm a little apprehensive. But I did the same thing about Titan. I thought Titan looked really weird in the trailers. I was like, where is that?
Okay.
And then we just learned it's Titan, right?
Right.
So,
okay. Like I said, my number 4 is Professor Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna put that on here, but I was like, I don't know if that's as interesting as something else that I could come up with.
Well, it's number 4, so.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think
I think Hulk is definitely gonna come back.
Yeah, they figure out their dilemma, their personality disorder.
You think he's gonna go full gray?
Like in the comics?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
I think they already have enough.
I think he's locked in green.
Well, and Drax is a gray. Thanos is closer to gray than any other.
Yeah, I
primary.
think they're marketing. They're just like, he's the green guy. You know what I mean? A lot of people call him the big.
And
green
the
guy.
Abomination was like a sand color, so you don't.
Shitty.
Why do bland?
It was like nude. It was like nude
right. Skin tone.
Skin. It's so gross.
Yep.
All right. My number 3 is, and this is the most obvious prediction of all time, but I think both Cap and Tony are gonna die.
Both.
And just be dead.
Okay.
Like, I'm not talking like, what's it called? I think they're both gonna have to sacrifice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think one is gonna have to sacrifice first, and then the other one's gonna have to sacrifice. I don't think they die in the same battle or anything like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know how they're gonna go out. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to
ruin
like that. I don't want it to happen because it would be painful to see Cap die. Okay, but I think they're both gonna die.
Yep.
Because I think they're really gonna try to push it onto the younger generations to move it forward. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, the next Avengers movie, Tom Holland will be like 24.
He'll be older, yeah.
He'll be a lot older.
Ready for my number 3?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have not everyone will be saved. So, with the whole sacrifice,
the whole dust,
a soul for a soul.
Yeah.
I think some people might have to sacrifice themselves to bring others back.
And I'm really curious how they're gonna do this, because the whole dusting thing, I thought people were just gonna die, right? Like when we went into this, I thought people were just going to die the most standard way.
Like almost as like their soul just got taken out of them and they just collapse.
Yeah.
Like Vision did. You know how he went gray and stuff?
Vision, Loki, Gamora,
Heimdall.
All of those are natural, normal deaths that you're like, okay, the only way to bring them back is to change something completely, right? But the dust thing just completely throws a wrench in the whole system. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying, that there's something going on with the Soul Stone.
So I think, for instance, I could see Hawkeye sacrificing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like to get his family back or something, you know?
Oh, man, I hadn't even thought of that. Is that how the Soul Stone works? They
don't specify, but I think
the power of the Soul Stone that you can, can sacrifice?
Yeah.
Souls for souls?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, dude. Then what does that mean for the universe
I mean, like
at that
Iron
point?
Man could sacrifice himself for Spider-Man or something like that.
Yeah, but what does that mean for the universe at this point?
See, I think I'm just saying this, like if they get the Soul Stone back and they're like, they find out everyone's not dead and they could bring them back. But since it being a Soul Stone, to get the Soul Stone, you had to sacrifice someone. So to get people back, you have to sacrifice. So it's like an endless chain of sacrification or something.
What if that's why What's-His-Face has gone nuts, Hawkeye? What if he's just killing people trying to get... That's just brutal.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. And then, like, yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. I think that could be a very good scene in a movie. If you're like, we can bring him back.
How?
But one of us has to go in exchange.
Or like Cap has to reverse snap, so everybody that is alive has to die.
Oof. Oof, man.
How is that the end game?
Big oofs.
How is that the end game, Doctor Strange?
I don't know.
Jeez. Okay. My number 2
Mm-hmm.
kind of goes against exactly what you just said.
Oh, mine contradict yours and my own, so.
Yeah, I mean, there are predictions, and I'm not making I have, like in Game of Thrones, I have this set that I think I know what's going to happen. Which, by the way, first episode didn't fuck it up, so I'm still good.
I was going to ask how that was.
Very good.
That reminds me of something I need to tell you anyway.
Loki, I think Loki is going to be a big deal.
Okay.
And
So
the
you don't
reason I
think-
say that is
What's funny is I've always said he's still alive, and you're like, no, he did. I feel like.
Oh, I think he's dead.
Oh, okay.
I think he's dead. I think they bring him back, and he's a big deal. Because the only reason I say this out of no knowing what the hell the movie's going to be like, anything like that, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the largest figure on the poster for the Avenge the Fallen, and he has a new TV show coming up.
But
So-
that could always be before.
Why would... Yeah, right. Disney knows not to do prequels.
Do
Why?
they?
They do. They haven't done a single prequel in the whole Marvel universe.
Oh, is Captain Marvel? 'Cause I think kinda.
No, a prequel
Technically,
is a prequel.
technically, Ant-Man and the Wasp was
a prequel. A prequel is a sequel to a movie / thing that already exists.
Okay,
So Captain Marvel is a retrospective.
but Disney also made Solo and Rogue One.
This is fair.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm just
anyway.
messing around at this point, but I think he's gonna come back. I think he's gonna be a big deal. I think he's gonna have a lot of play, right? Like he's going to have to get along with all these Avengers and make something happen, even though they hate him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because last thing they knew about Loki is that he tried to destroy New York. Right?
Most of them, yeah.
But I think Loki's gonna have to be like, "Yo, I know Thanos the most. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I've literally worked for him. You know."
I'm the reason, yeah.
Exactly.
All right. My number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So mine contradicts your number 5, I think it was. I'm going to say Iron Man kills Thanos.
That'd be cool.
So
I don't want Thanos to live.
I don't know.
I just want you to be
He'd
clear.
mess up too much
I
shit.
just think it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting prediction. Like, what if that happens? Because
Well-
everybody else's prediction is that he dies,
Yeah.
right?
And in Infinity War, I think Thanos caused Iron Man the most,
Absolutely.
like, sorrow and just, like, problems.
Not
you know?
not only did he basically kill him, unless he saved him,
Yep.
he also took away what is his closest son figure,
It's basically his son, yeah.
which the whole movie is about. It kind of has these father-son, father-daughter, basically children aspects to it. Thanos has his children. Gamora, him and Pepper at the beginning. You know what I mean? Groot and Rocket. Like, there's all these themes of children in the movie.
Yeah.
And it takes away the one thing that is kind of like his dry run for having a kid. You know what I mean? Like, can I actually do this?
Yeah.
Peter Parker's that dry run, you know? And he fucked it up. Like, he took away a lot from
Yep.
Tony.
So I think
Because how is Tony after this? If he got PTSD from Avengers 1, how is he going to go home and have a kid with Pepper at this point?
yeah, I don't know.
He took a lot. You're right. He took
Yeah.
a lot away. So that would be good, what do you call it?
Retribution.
Yeah. Not revenge, per se.
Yeah.
Revi-
Vengeance.
A vengeance, yeah.
Venge. All right, you're number 1?
My number 1. And this goes back to what you were saying earlier, a long time ago. Doctor Strange is not dead.
Oh, all right.
He dusted himself.
Okay. You think he did?
I think
Yeah.
I think he did some mystical magic shit to dust himself so that Thanos doesn't know he's still around.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah, I think.
Imagine the implications of that.
Yeah, like
Doctor
we
Strange,
said, he
Doctor
knows.
Strange just kind of dusted himself, so he's like under the radar, right? It put him wherever, and then he brings himself back and helps everybody out.
Well, he was the only person with zero emotion whenever he got dusted. He was just like, we're in the end game now.
Yep, and then he
Like
just
not a
fades
single
away.
like switch in his emotion or face.
Yep.
So it could be possible.
And I think I mean, we've seen that he can do stuff along the lines of like the reality sim can do. I mean, he spawns like 100 of himself.
Yeah.
At one point, you know what I mean? And he can do more. And he's the sorcerer supreme,
master of the magical
exactly.
arts.
So
Mystical.
it's like, what if he did something a little interesting, you know?
Yeah.
Or the other thing I had is Doctor Strange did something to the Time Stone.
Like cursed it or put a spell on it or
Did
something.
something to it. So it's not exactly what Thanos thinks it does.
Or he like handicapped it.
He either handicapped it or he rigged it
Mm-hmm.
to reset things at one point.
So this is a potential spoiler, but one of the trailers, I'm pretty sure Natasha is looking at a map of like Earth or something and says he used the stones again. So
Yeah.
I think Thanos uses the stones again, but it could be Strange.
Oh! Imagine.
We're like piecing together things that might not even be.
Oh, we're probably gonna be so wrong.
Oh,
It's not
yeah.
even funny. Yeah, that's the.
So that could be it. Like
that's the TV spot where Captain Marvel shows up.
Yeah,
because
he's
like use the stones again. You know,
Yeah.
Oh, we got it.
So that could be
Someone
Strange.
That could be someone
fucking
other
with
than
him.
Thanos.
Could be. Because I think that same TV spot, Thanos is wearing armor again, and he has like a giant sword.
Yeah, he has the Infinity Sword.
Yeah.
That's his new weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But why does he need a new weapon?
I think he
Destroyed the
might have
gauntlet.
lost the gauntlet. Maybe he's. Honestly, I think he's scared. And you could add this as our sixth prediction. He's scared of the Avengers now, in a way. Like he's threatened.
Yeah, I think
Like especially if he doesn't have a gauntlet.
I think at the end when Thor hit him, I think that definitely was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And, he saw Cap and was like, wow, these people are not just the normal people that I run up on. When
Yeah.
I run up on a planet, I can normally take it over and kill half the population. And then the other half of the population just accepts what happened to them. But these people, they're not the same.
The biggest fight he's ever got,
Absolutely,
basically.
yeah. Yeah. What's your number one?
Cap dies. The one I've been saying for a year now.
How do you think he dies?
I think similar to Infinity War, how Iron Man and Thanos had their altercation, I think it's going to be like that. Where...
Just a long punch up?
Mm-hmm. And I think... I think Cap actually is like... He like literally goes like Super Saiyan. Saiyan. And he's just like... Yeah, he's just like adrenaline... And he's giving it to Thanos. And I think Thanos is just too strong and might just pummel him.
Who takes up the mantle?
Winter Soldier.
You think Winter Soldier does?
Mm-hmm. Although I don't know if they're making a TV show, they might not want him to be.
I think there's a possibility he could not die, and he goes and becomes Nomad.
Yeah, I mean, he could just retire
because of something that happens. So they lose. Okay, let's say they lose again in Infinity War. So they don't entirely lose. They beat Thanos and they save a few people, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Still, half the population of Earth is wiped out, except for a few people. You know what I mean?
Or what if they have to choose who lives?
That's just nuts. But but imagine, right? Let's say Tony dies. Let's say Natasha dies, which also could be a possibility, by the way, because I know she has a movie coming up, but it could be set before.
Oh, a prequel, like you just said, don't do.
Yeah, don't do that. But it could be set before, right?
Yeah, it could be. There's a lot of cool stuff you could touch on.
Like back when her Russian times, right? So if that's true, then she doesn't have to technically be alive for that.
Mm-mm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Nope.
So let's say that happens. So a bunch like Rhodey. Let's say Rhodey dies. Let's say Anthony Mackie is like really dead. Falcon, right? Winter Soldier doesn't come back. He loses his friend again. Like, what would he do? He'd go be Nomad.
Yep.
Which in Nomad, he's literally like this kind of
like Logan almost.
Yeah, he's not exactly riding the fine line of
Justice.
honor and justice that he does, you know?
Right.
So I don't know. Okay, good list. What do you think is up with fucking Hawkeye? Like, what is going on? Do you think he just went crazy because his family died?
I think of all of his family members, he is the only one that lived. Like, wife, 3 kids. I think all of them died, but he's the only one alive. And so he's going psycho.
So what's he doing? Is he trying to find Thanos, do you think?
No. I think the only way to cope is because he's, remember, S.H.I.E.L.D., he's like a recon guy or whatever. The only way for him to cope is to go, like, bring balance to the force, bring balance to like justice.
Do you think he's
so I think he goes out as like a mercenary.
Do you think he's like vigilanting like season 1 of Arrow, like
yes,
out in China or wherever he's at?
Yeah, taking down.
Okay, Yakuza.
Yeah, yeah. I think he goes full Arrow basically.
By the way, that first scene of Arrow is so much better when he's like, when he decides, I will not kill. I was like, man, no, you suck. Now everything you do is going to be tough because you're not, like, you know, Slade basically comes back like 10 times because he can't fucking kill him. He keeps trapping him on the damn island. I'm like, come on, buddy. Yep. Just kill the guy. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is crazy. I think I'm most interested. Okay, clearly I'm most interested in the end game, okay? No pun intended. But I think I'm most interested character-wise in 2 people, and that is Hawkeye and Captain Marvel. And that's it.
Marvel?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I don't know what she's doing. I don't know why she's there. I don't know why Nick Fury thought it was so important to call her. You know what I mean? Especially after that movie. That movie, I was like, oh, now that Captain Marvel's coming, we're going to learn so much. After that movie, I'm like, I'm more confused because what is she gonna do?
She has nothing. She has no dog in the fight except
she's just
Sam
backup.
Jackson, huh?
She's just backup.
Yeah.
Which I thought after Captain Marvel,
unless I think she's gonna have a really big head, be like, I'm a lot stronger than you guys think I am, and she's just gonna pull up and try to fight Thanos and just get her ass kicked.
That'd be cool.
Like a leveling sort of thing.
I'd be down with that.
She gets shot down a couple notches.
But I thought at the end of that movie, I went, okay, Captain Marvel is going to show us something about her and her powers that helps the Avengers. Maybe not defeat Thanos, but helps.
Right.
Right? And then after Captain Marvel, I'm like, okay, she's a novice with her powers. She barely has any idea what she's doing. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm most curious about her. I'm most curious about Hawkeye because he's been out of the business, and now he's gone full, like, Chad and has, you know, like a faux hawk and tattoos and
sleeve
stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm curious.
I'm so excited.
What do we say? Is it 8 days? The fact that I know nothing is my favorite,
and I'm so glad they've kept it.
Dude, they've been on a, I don't know if it's out. It's probably out there and we could Google it and figure shit out, but it's like,
I don't even know if you could.
It's under a deep wrap. Like, nobody's talking about it.
Yeah. Like, they even tweeted out, it was a letter they wrote and just, like, asking people, it was like, this is, like, a modern masterpiece. Like, don't spoil. And it was, like, the hashtag don't spoil Endgame is trending, like, worldwide days later.
Good. So if you don't want Endgame spoiled, please do not listen.
We'll preface it.
On Thursday. We will let you know what the movie's like, how we thought it was. But literally just don't. Just don't. You just never, you know?
Yeah.
Just go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said,
if you can't get tickets, I completely understand.
It's probably the biggest movie of all time.
I think it is. Like, I think the same way I think about Game of Thrones as being the biggest TV ending of all time, I think this is the biggest movie of all time. Based on pure, what I explained earlier in this podcast, right? The decades of work that has gone into this. Yeah. And, you know, coming from rags to riches, basically. And the amount of effort and love and admiration that's been put into this, like, into this film and building it. On top of that, it's probably going to make the most money of all time. It's going to be the biggest opening. It's got the most stars in it. It's just like, it's the biggest movie of all time. And just because you're not a superhero fan,
it's still a good movie.
It's still a movie. It's like, it's just the biggest. Like, Titanic is just about a moment in history, okay? This is an invented storyline that has invested so much time and effort that millions and millions and millions of people want to see it on the day it comes out.
Yep.
I'm so flippin' excited.
Me too.
I'm getting popcorn. I'm getting icy. I'm going all out.
I stay away from drinks in a 3-hour movie.
Oh, good point. I'm not peeing. I'm not drinking the whole day before.
Yep.
I'm gonna have a serious headache.
Yeah. We'll sneak in some Tylenol or not Tylenol, some pain relievers for you.
Sumatriptan. Tylenol. All right. Anything else?
Sorry for the long episode, but we had a lot to talk about.
I mean,
it's whatever.
It's the Infinity War.
Yeah,
episode.
I mean, this is our biggest episode yet until next week.
Yep.
But our list for next week is 5 things that we want to see next, or what we think is next for Marvel, depending on the outcome of the movie.
I was about to say we might have to take a little bit after the movie to formulate that.
Yeah. Well, it'll be at the end of the show. And also, you mentioned Game of Thrones, which reminded me, I found your birthday present yesterday.
What, you just had it on you for this long?
No, I don't have it. No, I know what I'm getting you for your birthday. It's not till however 2 months.
Does that mean it's Game of Thrones related?
Yes, it has.
Fuck yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. So, I just brought that up. I was like, 2 months in advance, I know. So I'm not like last minute Amazon shopping for you.
Nice.
Yes.
Perfect. Speaking of Game of Thrones, if you watch Game of Thrones, the final scene, I guess I'm kind of talking to you. The final scene of Game of Thrones, the last, holy crap. It was 11:30. It was dark as hell. I'm watching it. I was like, huh. This is the first time I've been thoroughly horrorized by Game of Thrones. I was like,
really?
It caught me by surprise. I didn't see it coming, and then it was it had a little bit of horror elements to it, and it was also what the fuck? And it was also oh shit.
Right.
And it's just all these things combined, and it's just
I've seen a lot of memes and stuff on Twitter, but I'm just so lost. So
yeah. I mean,
so I don't know if I know what you're talking about or not.
Spoiler alert, the final scene, there's this, it's called Last Hearth. It's the last castle in the north before the wall. And that's where the White Walkers are coming from, right? And the White Walkers are famous for just butchering, okay? So a team is sent out to Last Hearth, who's led by Lord Umber, who's 12 years old, because he's the next line. And the other Lord Umber, his dad, who should be leading the castle until he died in the war for the King Rob's war. So now the 12-year-old gets to be king, right? So he goes back to try to help his people at Last Hearth and get them down to Winterfell, because all the North is collecting at Winterfell to try to fight, right? So they send this team because they're like, where the hell is Lord Umber and all the people? Dude. If they don't show up, roll up into the hall, the Great Hall in Last Hearth, and there's Lord Umber, the little kid, fucking pinned to the wall, dead, with arms and legs strewn around him in this pattern that the White Walkers make, and they're all like, oh shit.
Jesus.
And it's scary, it's dark and creepy, and all of a sudden, these two characters are looking at each other, and the camera's facing their side view, and you just see these blue eyes open up, and Lord Umber, pinned to the wall, comes alive, and he's holding a sword, and he's screaming and just hacking at them. And so they set him on fire because you burn White Walkers, and dude, he's just the most harrowing scream right after this jump scare. Oh my, it scared the living fuck out of me. It was you ever get that just down your spine, and then you can't sit still, you're constantly looking around your room. Oh, it was so bad.
Jeez.
It was so good, though. It was so good. Oh, cool, man. Nuts. All right, brother.
All right.
I'm excited.
I know.
I just want it to be Thursday.
I can't wait.
All right, see you next week.
Goodbye.